The following show is for mature audiences only.
Nobody. You have to have the ability to project. Tape is a massive part of it. But go sleep on the kid. It's fine. It's fine, man.
Why are you getting so upset?
Because expecting this kid to come out in week 2 and compare him to an all-pro, it's fucking stupid.
Where do you put Dexter? Like, what is your expectation of Dexter?
I think it's going to take time. I think he's very raw.
So,
but I'm not out there saying, "Oh, I've watched all of his tape, Phil." So he sucks, and let's compare him to an All-Pro in week 2 because his story's been written. I watched the tape.
I get it. You can't do that.
Well, that's my point. That's the shit that fires me up. He's not going to be asked to play 52 snaps a game either, like he was at Florida. Context matters.
He's the wild card. Obviously, for everybody, it seems. For me, we broke down the tape with my dad. We talked about it last week. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to take him time. Go back and look at Akeem Hicks and see what happened with Akeem Hicks, 3rd round draft pick. He didn't come into the league and blow shit up. Some guys, it takes a little bit of time. You have to have the ability to project with players. If you go out and say, "Oh, I'm just going to base it all on tape," and that's who it is, that's not the way that the NFL draft works.
It doesn't feel like they would be in the position to take a risk at this point. But I will say, when I was at Hallis Hall during the draft and it appeared that the Bears would have an opportunity to draft him, I have to admit, I was like, yeah, go get him. Go get him. Go get this guy. Just because of the potential of him being a generational talent. However, the rational side of me, once everything settled, the dust settled, so to speak, I feel good about what the Bears did and did not do, because it seemed like this was a situation where it was extremely well thought out by Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles knows how good Jalen Carter could be, warts and all. But, he came on the score, Ryan Poles did, and talked about, hey, I know what my locker room or this locker room can and cannot handle. And that was sort of the tone of the conversation. So I think it's like, he also admitted, look, and you guys could admit it, where he went, it's a perfect scenario for him.
Exactly.
Right. So I think this might be one of those cases where, assuming if Darnell Wright is a starter for the Bears for the next 6 to 7 years, then no matter what Jalen Carter does with Philadelphia or in the NFL, it's not going to be egg in the face of the Bears, I don't think. Right. And right now, you're just projecting at a guy. It's like, he played behind Bijan Robinson at Texas, and so people think they're putting it together. Like, look at the size of this guy. He's got it all. Like, he just needs his opportunity, and if it wasn't Bijan, it would be him. Yeah. I mean, to answer your question, I am a little bit blown away, because honestly, you look at the guys that are ahead of him right now, and Khalil Herbert and Dante Foreman, at least, I don't really see Roschon Johnson get a ton of carries early anyway. And, depending on how they rotate, and, you sign Travis Homer as well. And I understand that this guy's not going to break ground in the NFL, but that's what I think about with a 4th round running back who was not a starter. I think, where is he going to get his carries? Yeah, he's special teams for sure. I was part of the group at Hallis Hall that spoke to him outside on field 3, and he is a really good kid. We did ask him about leadership. He likes the idea of being a leader, but no backup running back is going to step into a leadership role, especially in his rookie year. So, I think I'm like you. I'm excited. I'm excited about it, and I can make a case for him. But the idea that he's some sort of franchise player or pillar of the franchise, whatever it was, that's silly.
Oh my fucking God. Your lunch with Mary.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Here we go.
Chicago's trading up 100.
Yes!
What? Here it is! Or just reporting?
The tape never lies.
Other people drop off, but we still keep rocking.
You'll never know how good your football team's going to be until you play with maximum effort.
Keeping it 100.
Open competition. Take over the North and never give it back.
Smartest man.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man and Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keeping it 100, never running east to west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the freaking anchor, forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now them out stuck like the now-and-laters. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added the barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sacks trolling like a fool, drunk texting. Flexing on the truth, cause you know they never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane. We do when we're breaking down the Bears. Fuck a play or a captain, all of the unchairs. The tape never lies. The truth, you see, we laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a sad nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like Trip Sat. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man and Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we're keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Justin Fields gets outside the pocket, puts that ball perfectly where only Mooney can get it. 1
Keeping it 100.
2 feet.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Birds never lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, why am I small? What's going on? This is Claudio the Barber, and this is TTNL's Keeping It 100, the best bear show on the planet, bar none. Listen, after 2 OTAs, we have some no-shows, but we got some guys showing out. We got a lot to talk about, and we got the man, maybe the Bears center, who knows, we'll see. Dieter Eiselen is going to be on this show. So let's bring on the boys, Shane, the smartest man, Marsaw, and draft Dr. Phil. I don't know what's going on.
Claude hit. We're rolling around.
Claude hit that post, but he was mini Claude.
He was mini Claude. That's the only way he'll work.
Then he was talking about no-shows. I thought we were. He was talking about no-shows. I thought we were doing a Bratcher and Jackal show.
That was weird. I don't know. I guess I didn't hit the solo part. That's all right. We did it. We're here.
Here's a story of a man named Bratcher who was busy playing bingo with the gals.
Oh, he's at a concert now.
He's living it up. He's living his best life, Bratcher.
Don't have time, he says.
That's it. You know what?
Jackal's
Maybe when
coaching equestrian.
I think Jackal announcing baby number 4 tomorrow. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce that or not.
I fucked your mom.
It's just so slick and skinny in a hole.
Yeah.
It's getting slick and skinny
That
in a
man
hole.
hurt me
Jackal.
significantly. Where's that drop?
I know. Where is that drop? I missed that drop.
I got it on my phone.
Hey, there you go. Yep, I like it.
Yeah, Zorich likes that drop too. It's getting a little better. I've been yelling.
OTAs, Phil.
Yeah.
Yes, OTAs. Well, you called it, Shane. And I'm sure Sports Mockery and some of these other migrating. What do they call that? Migrating.
Yeah, it's
migrating news.
Something, yeah. It's something like that. It shit drives me nuts.
Something and
must work though. Some of those motherfuckers have 40,000 followers, 50,000 followers.
Oh my god, it's like
aggregating.
That's it.
But yeah,
I even help you with that word.
Yeah, he texted me. He's a good speller. That guy. Yeah,
smartest.
He's the smartest producer. He didn't even have his headphones on, so he missed that whole thing.
This off season, we're gonna have the smartest producer trivia contest.
Yeah,
Jackal will be live from the Simsbury Equestrian Court, and Cherie, Claudio, and Ivan, Caden, and Ron G will participate in Bears trivia.
You know how I feel about stats. Really, stats are for losers.
Exactly, Coach.
Best drop ever.
One of the best drops. One of the best.
Golly, what the hell is going
on?
But yeah, back
you
to
called
Jalen
it
Johnson.
Jalen Johnson. Not show. No show.
I'm not surprised at all with that, and I think he will show up for training camp. But I think it's going to be. Listen, the precedent has been set with Ryan Poles. You want to get out of here? You want to get paid? There's the pathway, right there. We had Brian Perez on here. You know, Brian had his similar thoughts on Jalen. My gut is based on no inside information at all. I just have a feeling that Jalen's financial expectations are nowhere near where Chicago's is. And
when you look at Jalen Johnson, I'm trying to think of when I've ever said, now that's a fucking good football player. Like, he's been inconsistent, injured. He's not a very good tackler. How many interceptions has he had in his career?
One.
Yeah. So he's not.
He was a lockdown for a while. He locked it down.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
I mean, game.
We praise him for the Philly game, how good he played.
That was it.
We praise him for the Philly game, you know, how good he played, but he still gave up. I mean, what did AJ Brown have that game? 100 and
it was like 181, I think.
Yeah, so it was up there. But like I said, he's a good player. He's still very
Jerry
young.
Azuma had a great game against Terrell Owens that time. Shane.
Yeah, not really. Not so much.
Well, pardon me if your expectations of good.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some coaches out there that are gonna say you guys don't know shit.
I think
I remember 181 on a corner being kind of shitty, to be honest. You kept him out of the end zone. Now we're gonna celebrate that.
Yeah, I just think
nine receptions, 181, but it's I mean, he averaged like about 20 yards. But I mean, I remember multiple deep shots to AJ Brown that he was just wide open.
Here's a story. Let's go into the Detroit Lions game, Ivan. Wait, come back, Ivan.
Oh, please don't.
You were there with me.
Yeah.
So was Cherie actually as well, and Claudio. Shane, not so much. He was watching from the comfort of his home.
Yes, I was.
But third down against Detroit, and this little receiver, number 85 for the Lions, their fifth receiver, lines up on third down. against Jalen Johnson. And Jalen Johnson gets roasted. It ain't Amon St. Brown. It ain't any of he was the 5th receiver called up from the fucking practice squad. I love the kid. Tim something. Thank you, Jared. Exactly. Tim Kennedy, who worked his way onto the roster.
Tom Kennedy.
Tom.
Yeah, he had one reception, 44 yards.
Versus Jalen Johnson on 3rd down and 15, I believe it was, or 3rd and 9. And I'm telling you, game on the line. You ain't a pimp, bro. AJ Brown, 9 catches, 189, and you're sitting your ass out of OTAs. What are you doing?
Here's some quick
trivia.
To
the Bears Care Gala.
Here's some quick trivia. Who led the Bears in receiving that game, receiving yards?
In the Detroit game?
The Detroit game.
I'm gonna say
Simba Webster.
No, he didn't even play that game. Oh, hold on.
Think back.
Cole Kmet.
You're right.
Yes.
It was Cole Kmet with 74 yards on 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns.
I wasn't cheating, guys. That was one of his better games. He had that big route where he at the stem pressed to the flag and went back to the other flag.
That was the first play of OTAs was a seam route to Cole Kmet.
Oh, really?
Gain of about 28 yards. Yeah.
First plays of OTAs. Nick Moriano wanted to know how that felt.
Yeah, he was mad. He was at OTAs. It was taken away from his Dragon Ball Z slot. Anyway, back to Jalen Johnson. No, we said it here for the past year, and I think he's going to show up for camp, and I think his blueprint is Roquan. He's gonna hold in. That's what he's gonna do. I really
sit on the sideline.
Yeah.
And then the only difference is going to play his ass off, and you're going to
the one good thing is that he's got an agent, so that's the big difference. And Jalen was very, very young when he came in, so he's still a young player. But if those financial expectations, and like I said, I'm basing this completely off my gut feeling with it. I just have a feeling that his financial expectations are way different than where the Bears are. You hear Eberflus talk about it. It's all about ball production. Yeah. Roquan Smith, you didn't have enough of it. And this is where I laugh, and people are still I listened to 2 podcasts today. Dan Weeder, we had him on our air 2 times. And if Dan was here tonight, I would check him on it. He said that the only reason that Tremaine Edmonds is in Chicago was because ball production the value didn't meet where he was statistically. Buffalo wanted him back. They wanted him back badly. They couldn't afford him. 100% done deal. That's what it was. Buffalo never said that. Everybody when people talk about ball production, Phil, you're a coach. Ball production. Are pass deflections ball production? Yes,
absolutely.
They are. Oh, yeah. Nobody fucking talks about that. If you want to talk about ball production, go look at Tremaine Edmonds' pass deflections as a middle linebacker. So, it's plus 30. Plus, it's over 30 from the middle linebacker position. That's going to be a big, big part of what we do. You heard
especially with Morrow and Roquan just letting.
He had a pick in OTAs today.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah,
yesterday
against PJ Walker.
Yep.
But Eberflus said himself he broke down 60 players heading into free agency himself, to with what he liked, and so that tells you he signed off 100% on Tremaine and said, "This is the guy that I want. I want this guy in the middle of my defense." Phil, we've talked about it forever. With that length, it changes so much. We saw it with Brian Urlacher, 6'4", big guy. Edmonds 6'4", 6'5".
We get that depth, and you have range and the length of your arms, that wingspan. But this guy also has an instinctive ability to understand when you're playing zone. I always teach kids the discipline of looking at the quarterback. That is so hard for some people when there's chaos moving in front of them. In zone, you got to drop while you're looking at the quarterback. If you watch Tremaine Edmonds' tape, and we broke him down on X's with the O's on our Patreon, and watching him, I mean, he gets his hand on balls. And that tipped ball drill is going to get you an Oski, an interception.
Yeah.
And the great thing, ladies and gentlemen, about football is a lot of verbiage can be used on the field and in the bedroom. It just doesn't matter. That's how it is. My son says he's going to wear number 69 tonight. And my wife goes, what?
Nice.
It's like, it's just a cool number.
I want to be a mutter.
Devin?
That's Devin.
Devin, right?
But the reality is you have to understand that it's so important. Listen, I'm not saying anything about Cars. We had a debate on this show where me and Cars thought Edmonds would be the Will and Edwards would be the Mike. And I said, no, I would go the other way because of the length and what Shane's talking about. Urlacher is the perfect example of what a Mike does to a passing window on third down. If you're able to get depth when you're in nickel and have that guy, it's just a killer. It's check down Charlie time.
Yeah.
It's check down Charlie. And the Bears, Shane. I mean, Cherie, Claudio, and Ivan. I'm sitting next to Ivan in Cars. Here it comes, 3rd and 13.
You felt it.
It's going right over the middle on an in cut.
Yeah. All
Bears.
Phil, I mean,
day.
That the bad part about it is, it's all
wasn't just
Chicago Bears were the only defense when it was 3rd and 10 plus. I had zero confidence that they were They were stopping it. It was like stealing candy from a baby, fish in a barrel, whatever phrase you want to use. Every down, and I mean, come on, I had hopes for Nick Morrow. You know what I mean? I liked the player. I thought that there was some upside there. He didn't flash. He didn't stand out. He didn't impress me at all. You know, he had issues with his ankle in Vegas, you know, not staying healthy, but he was easily replaceable. And look what we broke everything down here heading into the offseason. You know, somebody in here was saying, you know, Shane, you were right about Jalen Johnson, all that shit. Nobody sat here and said, oh, we're going to go get TJ Edwards and they're going to give a huge offer to Tremaine Edmonds.
Right.
When we signed TJ Edwards, we broke it down. I'm like, all right, there's their move at linebacker. Then they signed Nate Davis. And then literally while we were going live, I was like, holy shit, Tremaine Edmonds. I texted you, Phil, immediately. And you're like, fuck you. that was like bullshit. And I'm like, no, just happened.
When you have real quick, because I know I'm going to let our guest finish some of the shrimp cocktail and lobster tails we have for him in the green room. But when you have a linebacker with length and everyone in the league is running spread game and RPO game, when you watch Tremaine, and I'm sorry, other shows, other networks, other podcasts that we listen to and analyze during free agency were very, why Edmonds? Why they pay him all? I'm just going to let you know now, before it happens, that his ability to get from point A to B to take away what is an option in read option because of his length creates a sack. And that kind of shit, most fans just don't understand because it's seconds in mesh, deliver, pull. Oh, I can't go there. Boom. And all of a sudden the ball's out. When you have length at middle linebacker, instincts, and the ability to get your hands on that football, it is going to be a game changer. That's why Shane, myself, were so excited. I still remember him texting me. I couldn't believe it that we got 2 linebackers. And I'm like, so excited to see those 2 because I think it's a complete makeover. They did it. And I will never count out Jack Sanborn, ever. I don't know what he's going to say and do. And anyway, let's not keep our guy waiting. I know he's come in here, friend of mine, love this guy. This network has pounded the table time and time again about Dieter and his story. We're going to let him talk about his story tonight, as well as his journey in the NFL from South Africa as a rugby player to learning American football on the go, getting a full ride to Yale University.
Played down the road.
Playing at Cho and won a championship. Yeah.
Hometown
Cho. Let's bring this guy out the way we do here. I got to meet him in person. He towers over me.
Well, everybody towers over me.
Let's bring out the guy from former Bulldog, now Bear, number 60, Dieter Eiselen.
Bears fans, this guy hails from Stellenbosch, South Africa, and then made his way to Choate Rosemary Hall in Wallingford, Connecticut, where he helped lead the team to the 2015 NEPSAC Championship before suiting up for the Yale Bulldogs. A 2017 All-Ivy League Honorable Mention member, a 2018 Second Team All-Ivy League member, and Field Steel First Team All-Ivy League and Hammer Award winner. Ladies and gentlemen, get out your seats and give a proper TTNL welcome to Chicago Bears offensive lineman, Dieter Eiselen.
There he is.
Even though we spelled his name wrong on that graphic, we're not gonna say anything wrong.
Gotta talk to your graphics department there.
Yeah, fucking Claudio over there. Jesus Christ, kid can't spell.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on, man.
What's up, Dieter?
How are you?
I'm great, man. Just rolling through OTs right now. It's good. We're getting ready to roll for the season.
How does it feel going back in your? Listen, I get to know Dieter. I want to ask you, how much do you love this game of football, man? I mean,
I love it a lot. Gave up a lot for it, leaving my family back home in South Africa, sacrificed a lot for it. Missed some weddings, some birthdays, some funerals. But yeah, you have to sacrifice, and I really love the sport, and it's done a lot for me. It's opened a lot of doors for me, giving me a lot of opportunities. So wouldn't change it anyway.
Dieter, when you look at this, it's the thing that I'm stuck on with you more so than anything is not a lot of guys. I mean, we obviously know that you haven't gotten a ton of reps, but we all know, you know better than anybody, but we all know there's something there, obviously, that 2 entirely different regimes have seen. They see that upside and that you're, obviously still young in your football career, but do you ever at some point, do you get to a point where you kind of get down on yourself and you think about that and you're like, Jesus, I've pushed through 2 regimes, so there's obviously something there. How do you compartmentalize all of that with not getting all of the reps, not getting the game reps, but still surviving each and every week with the Chicago Bears on this roster?
Yeah, it was great to play with the new regime last year and see the field for the first time. I really enjoyed doing that. You know, my first snaps was in the Dallas game, and then I played a lot more in that Buffalo game, which was good. I really, you know, that moment just really made me realize to just, you know, you always got to push. Obviously, it's hard with, you know, regime turnovers. Like everybody cleans house and bring in their guys. You know, the 69 guys we had on the team, Nagy's last year. I think we finished the year with 13 last year, and it's even less now. You know, so it's like you just always got to keep on. I'm really happy that they decided to tender me, which I was really, you know, thankful for. And you know, it's just them believing in me and seeing that they see something in me and my potential. It's a completely different scheme from what we ran before. So I'm really happy that I can adapt to that and hopefully add a lot to it, not just last year, but hopefully a lot more this year.
When you look, obviously, I was at the Dallas game, and you get thrust in there. And finally, near the end of the game, you're getting reps at center, and I think you pushed, what's his name, Vanderdash, whatever the fuck his name is.
Vanderdash.
Fucking threw his ass. Every time you get in there at center, especially, you just do it. It's like infuriating to this network, me, my dad, who is a huge fan of you, as well as other offensive line coaches in college and around the league that get upset because you're not getting your shot there. So then I'm bringing this full circle. Then you mentioned Buffalo. And when I pop in the tape of Buffalo, you are absolutely destroying them. Like, and then you're not playing the next time. And then there's this one rep against the Lions where you got your feet caught under you and you get knocked back, and then everybody and their brothers texting me saying, you see your boy, and it's got to infuriate you. I'm sorry to, you know, because you are one of the most prideful, hardest working offensive linemen out there. Is that something that you're going to take with you now as motivation? Because everybody, it just seems that way. Bears fans might be the worst. They're just going to focus on the negative and not listen and watch the tape of all the positives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that your motivation?
Yeah, I mean, that's not external sources, not really my motivation. You know, like I don't really pay attention to people who aren't, you know, watching tape and don't really understand the game holistically. Like what motivates me is just to be the best version of myself, you know, to max out everything that I can do as a player and contribute. You know, nothing is given in this league, everything's earned. So for me, it's just building on my game and being twice as good as I was last year and always just improving. Because for me, you know, I started playing the sport when I was 19 years old. I'm 26 now, you know, and I didn't come over with the intention of being in the NFL, but I made it, and the progression that I've made from just my rookie year to now is a lot, and I think that I can improve a lot more. You know, like I don't see a ceiling for myself, so it's all those things that I just try to work on every single day to get better. You know, so that's what motivates me, not so much external forces. And you know, there's only 5 guys who start on the O line. There's only one center. You know, like that's the reality of the position. We're not like rotational defensive linemen who, you know, they rotate in and out and a lot of guys see the field. That's not how offensive line play works. But for me, like I want to earn my spot and I want to be, you know, so good that I can earn the trust of my teammates and my coaches and be like, we fully trust this guy to go out there and do his thing no matter what, you know. So that's what my goal is. You know, I understand that my journey is very unorthodox. You know, I'm the only guy from South Africa in the league. And, you know, I didn't play high school football for how many other years, but
it's I'm sorry, bro, but that's fucking amazing. It really is, Dieter. I mean,
yeah,
when you think about it.
Yeah. And I mean, when I'm here, I really get caught up in, you know, football, working hard and all that. But when I go home once a year, I do really realized that, and I really regained that sense of gratitude. Like, even if everything were to end tomorrow, if I blew out my knee and I could never play or whatever, like, I still have a profound sense of gratitude for just making it to this point, because I understand the privilege and the responsibility for what it is. So many millions of kids all across the U.S. never get here, and I did.
It's unbelievable. I don't think people, and Bears fan, that's what this network's about, Dieter. And you know how much I respect you, the man and the player. I don't ever hype anybody up just because I know them. I just never will do that. It's just not my way. I look at you. The story is secondary to your point of punch power and athletic ability. I think you're 100% right. There is no ceiling there. But take us back, like Shane said it, you last these administrations, you said it, 69, 13, now probably down to 5, whatever it is. Ryan Poles, is it Ian Cunningham, Ryan Poles, Coach Eberflus, end of last season, they bring you in, they talk to you and say, listen, we want to bring you back. Do they tell you anything that they want you to work on? What is that meeting like? Is it euphoric that you at least know you're going back, you're going to compete, and you're going to get a fair shot? Is that where you're at right now?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has an opportunity to compete, and I think that our position coach does a really good job to cycle guys through. Like, nothing is like, all right, this is set, like, this is the way it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, he does a great job of rotating guys in and out, like ones, twos, threes, switching guys up in position to make sure they can handle like all those mental gymnastics, and deal with the pressure. Like, oh, like I'm going with the ones today or whatever, like to see how you're going to perform. So, and it's so early days right now. We're just in OTAs, just in helmets and t-shirts. So, but yeah, everybody's got an opportunity to compete, and I really believe it's a full meritocracy. So my goal is just to, be so good that I earn my job that I want,
And that job is what? Center?
Wherever the opportunity is given, I just want to start, like that's all I want. So whether that's at center or guard, like I have the versatility to play like any of the interior 3 spots. So whatever that opportunity is given to me, like that's all I want and what, I'm working for every day. So I'm really thankful that I have the versatility to do that. So not a lot of guys can, go from left to right or play center, so.
Absolutely.
Dieter, when obviously with your, ascension in the NFL and in your entire story, like you've been talking about, you're talking about not a lot of people in the United States get the opportunity, but when you expand it to worldwide, with you being from South Africa, I mean, those numbers decrease,
yeah.
A lot more. And it's kind of mind-boggling just to sit here and think about where you came from and where you are now. But in your journey in the NFL, once you got here now, with your offensive line coach right now, Chris Morgan, we've heard Darnell Wright talk about, his presence and what he's meant. How has he been with you, and how has he made you a better player?
Yeah, he's been great. Learning from him, the second scheme was completely different. Like I said before, from Nagy's system, it's the wide zone scheme that a lot of teams in the NFL employ. Minnesota, Green Bay, old Atlanta, and that's where he really thrived from. Obviously, he was O-line coach, run game coordinator in Atlanta back when guys like Alex Mack, et cetera, and Andy Levitri were playing down there. So just learning from him the completely different style of play and body type that they want for the scheme. It was great to learn from him, and he really pushes us to practice a certain way, to be in a certain type of conditioning. And he does try to make things harder so that when the moment arrives in game, it is easier and things do feel slowed down. So I really like that about our preparation, is that it's meant to simulate things that are harder, and when the actual moment arrives, you just feel relaxed. So yeah, but he's been really good, and I've been really thankful to learn from him, and also some of the other vets who have played in the system before, guys like Lucas Patrick, who came from Green Bay. He's been in the system with Green Bay for a number of years, so just learning from him and watching a lot of tape, it's been great. So I'm really thankful towards Simo, and I hope that we can work with each other for a long time.
Take us back, South African kid coming out, first time dressed, full pads, running out to Soldier Field and the crowd. What is that moment like for you? Your first call up, you're out there. What is that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was great, man. So I was dressed in 20 and 21, but playing for the first time on the O-line was that Buffalo game.
Yep.
And it was an interesting game. The weather was a little cold.
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little colder than South Africa.
A little colder than back home. Negative
Welcome to
16.
Chicago.
Negative 16 with 40-mile-an-hour winds, pretty cold. And I remember going into that game. The plan was for me to play at left guard, and I had to go in early because Michael Schofield had injured his hand. And I went in, and I remember I was wearing 2 layers of thermal gloves under my football gloves. Did not matter at all. My hands felt like balloons out there.
Did T-Med set you up with those, or was that just your idea?
Yeah, I mean, we had to do everything to try and stay warm. I've never been that cold in my life. But it was
once you get numb, it's not that bad, right, Dieter?
Yeah, I mean, it was good though. I went right guard, played a little bit, and then finished the game at left guard, and felt like I played pretty well. It was cool to play against guys like Ed Oliver and Shaq Lawson, those guys, and punch them and not really feel it, but could see it, with the hand.
Is my finger still connected?
Yeah. So, did a little, hypothermia check after the game, but it was good. It was really so cool to play in that game, and it felt surreal. So, wish we could have won, but it was, it was awesome to just be out there and play the thing that I've trained to do for so long. So, yeah.
So does your family back home, do they have access to watch the games live, or how does that work with them?
Yeah, it's tough with the time difference.
Yep.
Because it's like 6 or 7 hours ahead. And, they've been to my college football games, but they don't really have a great understanding of the sport, especially in my position. So I wouldn't make them sit through a 3-hour game, but send them some highlights or something like that. But they're fully, in my corner and support me, which is great. So, yeah.
That's
when
great.
you look at your experience here with the Chicago Bears, you've played against some, practiced against some great interior defensive linemen. Does anybody stand out to you that have really helped you in this journey? Because you're in its infancy, really. I mean, the numbers, the odds of you making the NFL alone is beyond 1,000,000 to 1, whatever that is. So you've gotten there. Now you're there. Akeem Hicks, I think you played against him. A bunch of these guys. Everybody, well, I have a funny story later, but is there anybody that stands out that's really helped you from that side of the ball?
Yeah, definitely Akeem and Bilal Nichols, going up against those guys, 2 completely different bodies.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was great to go up against those guys, especially in training camp when we're actually going full tilt. there's not a whole lot of guys built like Keem in the Ivy League. Or there might be, but they can't move like him,
Yeah.
So it was really great to go up against somebody like him, who's obviously super big and long and can turn it on, So, and then Bilal was just, super compact, explosive guy who moves really well. Obviously not the biggest guy, but it's just so good with his hands, and just going up against those guys, iron really sharpens iron. So I really, learned a lot from them, how to play different guys, different techniques that you can use against different guys. So it was definitely good. Definitely became a lot better player going up against those guys.
Is it easier to go against a bigger body like a King, or is those smaller defensive linemen more difficult for you? Which one, or does it matter to you?
Depends what the play is. So yeah. If we're running pin and pull, I'll take that big body every time.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends. It depends what you're trying to accomplish in the block. Depends if you're trying to minimize space. Depends where the back is, where the quarterback is. So every block is unique and different. So
who are you taking when it's 16 below and 40-mile-an-hour winds, Dieter?
And it's 3rd and long.
Yeah.
I'll probably take Keem. I'll just try and jump set up.
Exactly.
Try and jump set
up.
Yeah.
You're talking about some of the guys, from your past a little bit, but some of the guys that they just brought in, we saw the Bears go pretty heavy at defensive tackle in the draft with Dexter and Pickens, and we've already talked to your teammate Travis Bell. You talk about a little firecracker. I don't know if obviously you've talked to him and met him and stuff. We had him on live with us, and just a great spirit, a kid that's obviously has a different story than you, but just kind of Kennesaw State first draft pick ever from there.
Yeah.
Can you speak on those three guys a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously went heavy D-line in the draft, which is great. It's still early days to see, but obviously all those guys got picked for a reason, and a lot of them were day 2 guys. So I'm sure they're great players, and they'll adapt to this league. The real time will come when the pads come on. Then you'll see what kind of players guys are. Once that first team period comes on and it's full go. So right now it's a little early to tell, and OTAs, the tempo is a little slow down. So yeah,
I love I get excited just with Dieter saying that. Yeah, it's like he's essentially saying, fuck the rookies, we'll see what they are when they put the pads on.
We'll find out.
He didn't want to say it publicly, so I'll say it for him. I fucking love it.
Listen,
we'll kill him later.
Fuck around, like pads on. That's when we decide.
Yep.
And that's what I mean. Oh man, I have had so many laughs from Dieter that I can't even share. But I just know, like from the bottom of my heart, if you're just a new listener or you're just finding out about Dieter Eiselen because he's been hidden on this roster and infuriating many of a Chicago Bears center controversy that has been on Twitter
real
and
quick,
everywhere.
Phil, speaking of that, Dieter, like we were in your position, like you see the draft night comes around. Are you focused on that to see, oh shit, there's like a guy that Phil and I analyzed on tape, and a guy that we were high on was John Michael Schmitz, the center from Minnesota. Are you focused on, even go back to free agency into the draft on who are they bringing in at center? Who are they bringing in on the interior of this offensive line? Or are you just kind of sitting back and whatever happens, happens? But are you paying attention to any of it?
No, not really. I don't really care who the prospects are coming out. If the guy's not on the team, then I don't care. So obviously every year, I mean, I've been on the team for 3 years now, going on my 4th, and what it was in 20 compared to now, it's
night and day. Yeah,
night and day. So that's the way it is every year. Every year, tons of guys come in. It's all just about showing that you can produce value and why you deserve to be there. So I don't really pay attention to a lot of that, and I just try to be the best version of myself because that's all I can control. Like I can't control what they do. I can only control what I can.
Spoken like a true Yale grad right there. Just keep in perspective. Dieter, the center in this offensive system, are you responsible to call out the mic, or are they asking Justin to do it? Is the center responsible for the slide where you're going to slide your protections and what have you, or is that more on the quarterback?
So, I mean, just like a lot of teams that run the scheme, the center is responsible for IDing whoever the point is in the run game, whatever that scheme may be, and we run lots of schemes. And then protection, the center will call the initial protection, and then the quarterback always has final authority to change it or audible it, depending on whether there's a pressure or whatever we see that he sees fit to change. So yeah, that's the way we operate.
Does Justin Fields command a huddle to the extent where he could say, "Yo, D, I fucked that up, my bad," or is he yelling at you, Dieter, get your head in the, does he have that command for you and that vulnerability at the same time? How does he carry himself?
Yeah, I mean, he's very even-keeled, so he doesn't let anything affect him. He's in full command once we form the huddle, but he doesn't let anything affect him. He never gets too high or never gets too low. Can take full responsibility for when something goes wrong or we're outmatched in whatever defensive look we're getting, but he's always in full command, but just like calm and confident.
Dieter, how much is we've all heard about it. When Coach Flus came in initially, he was saying, "Hey guys, get your track shoes ready." How much is the hits philosophy emphasized, day in and day out, and in practice, in meetings, in the classrooms? How much is that re-emphasized? Because we kind of lived through this a little bit. I know this is way before you, but with Lovie Smith, and it pertained more to the defense, with always running to the ball, and the ball's on the ground, you run to it. But just as a team overall, how much of an emphasis is on that on a daily basis at Hallis Hall with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, they do a good job of emphasizing it at key moments, I would say, so quite regularly. And they'll try to illustrate it at moments where it's actually applicable. So instead of just being some la-di-da acronym, that doesn't really mean anything, it's actually referenced back to whenever something happens on a day-to-day basis. And they do a good job of, having like timely reminders and having people speak on it, through like tangible experience instead of just like pie in the sky kind of, aspirational stuff. So I think a lot of guys are bought into it, and I think that it's something that has a lot of utility. So, I really like it a lot. And, the way obviously it pertains a lot, hustling and running to the ball, like it obviously pertains a lot to defense, but I think that the way that it fits for us, it's just, especially like as a lineman, the scheme that we adjusted to, like it's all about being able to run, and being able to get into the right spots and being explosive and fluid and all that. So that's kind of the thing that I take away from it too, from 30,000 feet up.
When you look at this team now in OTAs, and as you pointed out, you've been here through these administrations, and now hopefully we see you starting at center. We all believe in you. I know I believe in you and put my name on it. Do you feel a different like camaraderie? Is there a belief? You know what I'm saying? Like there was times, obviously you're coming off a 3-win season, but it just seems like there's something different brewing. Are you feeling that now with these guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm really optimistic about this season. The guys that we added through free agency and the draft. I think that, those guys are going to help us win a lot of games, and I think, there were a lot of times last year when obviously the NFL, is oftentimes a one possession game and it's always close. There were a lot of key moments last year where I felt like, if we had won, if those games had gone into our favor, our record would have reflected that, and we would have had a lot better season. So, 3-14 can turn into a 10-game win real quick,
right,
with a few adjustments and improvements. And I'm really optimistic about all the guys that we added, all the weapons we have on offense, all the weapons we added on defense. So I think it's just a matter of executing and coming together as a team. And something that I really appreciated the staff facilitating is these sessions where essentially guys, you get to know guys. So they'll split us up into different rooms, and guys will talk about their hometown and where they came from and hardships they endured and family stuff and things you would never talk about on a day-to-day basis if you weren't asked about it. And when would you have the time to even ask about that? So just getting to know guys on a better personal level and forming those relationships, I think, is something that has real value. So I'm really excited about that. And we're still, again, in the early days. That secret sauce, that juice needs to be real, and that gets formed through the dog days of training camp and through preseason and all that, and then hopefully it comes to fruition week 1. So yeah,
absolutely.
Dieter, what's been your coolest moment as an NFL player, kind of away from the field? I look back to some of the things I saw. You're at the one Bulls game, and they tweeted out the video, and one of the players that was with you guys, he's like, "Look at Dieter down there. He looks like a proud dad." You can hear it on the audio, but you know what it was? It was just, you think about it with, where you came from and your entire story, and like I said, I know I keep referring to it, but it's so impressive to me. But what's been your coolest moment away from the field as an NFL, as a Chicago Bear? You're like, wow, holy shit, this is cool as hell.
Yeah, I mean, last year when we got to go to a Blackhawks game and sit in a suite there, and they had custom Blackhawks jerseys for us with our names and stuff, with Justin and all the guys. That was really cool. So, I've never really experienced that. And they had the camera on us as
yeah, he did the shoot
away.
Justin did shoot the puck that night, I think, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Did you give him shit for?
I think he missed it. So
yeah, he did. He did.
It looked hard though. I mean, no ice hockey back home. I mean, it's probably fucking hard to do it from all the way back
there. I thought you were gonna say hanging out with me at Dallas was one of the best. No, I'm kidding.
He said, "This motherfucker's real short."
He said off the field. He said off the field.
Yeah, right.
Dieter comes up on the sideline, and you give the hug shake, but Dieter's in full pads. So the true story behind this, Larison's taking a picture. Dieter comes in, gives me the hug, and his shoulder pad, as he bends down, hits me right in the top of the eye. I'm like, oh my God. And that was like
5'2"
a hug. Imagine going full bore onto the 3-tech as he's trying to, scoop block him. Dieter Eiselen has some power. I'm not kidding you. There's some strength there. Dieter, you look at the guys they bring in to compete with you now. And as you said, better than I can, Hofstra versus Yale. I'm going to give the edge to Yale here. Meritocracy. How do you say that? Meritocracy. You feel good about this opportunity now. You feel good about it because I feel like there is a reason they move off of Mustafa and you stay. in the competition with Lucas Patrick, Doug Kramer. Who else is involved? What's that? Cody Whitehair. And I think you have something to say about it. And that's all you can ask for when you're where you are in that story. And I'm putting my chips in on you, man. I really believe that. Are you excited about this? This has to be.
Yeah, man, I'm always excited to compete. Like I've given an opportunity, I'm going to take full advantage of it. That's how I am every day. I'm not. I always try to max it out. So I don't really care about the situation or not the situation. Like I try to be the best version of myself no matter what. So I'm really excited for this year, and I'm optimistic. I feel really, mature and relaxed going into it, for my 4th time now. So I'm one of the older guys hanging around.
It's got to be crazy for you.
It goes by fast, man. It goes by fast. So
I bet.
You're wearing a tux at the Bears Care Gala.
Yeah, yeah.
All I could think of seeing you and your beautiful fiance, right? Or am I putting pressure?
Oh, not the fiance yet. He had to.
She's sitting in the back.
6 years dating, so
essentially. Okay,
that's almost common law, bro.
Yeah.
All I hear is Kari Blazing Game saying, "Ask Dieter where we need to invest our money, Dieter."
So he did.
Do you have any tips for the fans here? Where they should put some stock options or Bitcoin, whatever coin? Where should we go with this?
Well, let me just preface this by saying I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice.
But only if it works, right, Dieter?
Yeah. I enjoy I enjoy investing, keeping up with the economy and stocks and all that. I really enjoy it. A lot of people are saying doomsday for recession and negotiations with the debt limit ceiling and all that, but we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic about the market this year. Year to date it's up quite a bit, so I'm not going to go so far as to
see, we put the disclaimer at the bottom of the screen for you, Dieter.
Very good job, guys.
I'll just say if you invested in Nvidia, today was a good day. So
yeah.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. And what's going on with the dollar, Dieter? Should people be worried about cash? I know Method Man said cash rules everything, but where
I
are
don't
we
know.
at with it?
I don't know. There's always concerns. I think you have to look at it from, not just now, but like many decades from now. You got to look at, what countries like China are doing. Obviously that will be the next superpower. It's just a matter of when that'll happen. So obviously the dollar will weaken then, and maybe it won't be the global reserve currency anymore. But for right now, it's doing pretty good. A whole lot better than the South African currency, I can tell you that.
So Dieter, your end of season meeting with, do you meet with Flus and with Poles, or is it just the head coach? And did they give you something that they want you to specifically focus in on and work on, and kind of what did Dieter want to work on? What did you think that you needed to focus in on, and did that mesh up with what they said?
Yeah, I mean, those kind of end of year meetings are quite fast because they have to literally see the entire team, and it's not so much looking at tape and like, all right, this is
right,
what we're gonna do, whatever. For myself, it was more just becoming as explosive and as fast as I could be. Just continuing to mold my body, gain as much muscle mass and lose as much fat as I could, and just becoming super comfortable with the scheme. Just going into my second year now into the scheme and not having to relearn everything is great, you know. So instead of just, you know, having the concepts down, having it down to like a deep level where you can anticipate things, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, but there's always a lot of things that you can improve. Every single facet, I think, even if it's a strength, it can be improved. So I'm always just looking to improve every single day.
We were talking about, you know, getting your fat down and stuff like that, but what's a typical day like for Dieter Eiselen in terms of what you're eating? What does that look like?
Yeah, a lot of protein. You know, I eat pretty much the same thing, you know, quite regularly, and I know my body. I can kind of feel when I'm in a caloric deficit or if I'm over, and I'll adjust it based on, you know, how active I am. But, you know, just eggs and oatmeal and rice and chicken and steak and a whole lot of that.
So the girlfriend, not fiance, has a pretty limited menu
She
for
eats
you
what
to
she
help
wants,
you out,
bro.
right?
Make it easy. Make it easy.
Yeah, perfect.
It's weird because I was going to ask you the same thing. Did the Bears kind of develop a plan for you and every player, and that's what you take? And is there like a weigh-in for certain players, or everybody's getting a weigh-in?
So for us, we have everybody gets a weigh-in, and you have to like be under a certain weight, you know, which is good. I think it's nice to keep guys accountable for all that. So that's more an in-season thing right now. They can't do it according to the CBA. But yeah, I mean, our dietitians are great, and nutritionists. You can go and speak with them if you need, you know, specific advice, and they can craft like a whole thing for you. But, you know, I know my body quite well and what works for me and what doesn't. So, yeah.
Do they have like protein shakes shop there right in Alice? Is there meals prepped? And is there like, you know, at Hofstra you had what did it call? The dining table where the team would go after practice and you had your meal.
What he's asking is what's the shittiest thing on the menu and what's the best thing on the menu, Dieter?
Yeah, I mean, our facility is pretty great, you know, so like you can have like personalized, you know, protein smoothies with everything and anything that you want. And, you know, our nutrition department does a great job of having that ready for us right after we lift. All the people in the cafeteria are so great. You know, they do a great job of switching up the menu quite frequently. So it's not the same thing every day. And you can even ask for things to be made, you know, to order right there. So
wow,
it's really, really nice. So I really enjoy the cafeteria, and, you know, all the people that work there. So great. Like, I know them by name. I've been there for a long time now. It's not all the same people, but, you know, it's nice to be there in the mornings and people have stuff ready for you, you know, whether it's just iced coffee and have like eggs ready for you. It's just a great way to start the day. So yeah, I really appreciate all the people that work there a lot.
Now, Chris Orich talked about back in the day, the Bears would charge the players $5 the night before to eat the next day. This is like we're at a Mexican resort, all inclusive.
Yeah,
Bears fans want to know.
This is all inclusive, you know, great resort eating. So as much as you want, which is great. So
they wanted to know that. See, Ben, I asked our guy. Dieter's giving you the inside. Maybe Hard Knocks will come to Chicago.
Hopefully not.
You don't want,
are you against it, Dieter?
I don't want cameras during training camp. You know, it's like a sideshow. I don't.
Yeah. What about when Larry Mayer pushes that microphone up in your face? You know, Dieter, do you like football?
I'll be one of those guys who just like hides from the camera. You know, that's all I'll do. So.
I know. We always see it was a nice picture of you at the Care Gala. You're in the background of the selfie, and you're just sitting there. I'm like, Dieter's looking stealth right now. What are you weighing in right now?
I'm like 312 right now. So
nice.
Yeah.
Now, Is there like a bench competition between the offensive linemen? Do you have that kind of stuff go on? Strength competitions, anything like that?
Unfortunately, not.
No.
I like.
Oh, is that a little bit of smack talk there, Dieter? Kind of sounds
You
like it.
caught that, right, Shane?
They don't. They don't want none of this. Dieter says.
I take pride in what I do in the weight room. So, yeah, well, I really enjoy the strength staff that we have. They do a great job of cycling us through different stages of the off-season program. So it's been good. I enjoy getting after it in the weight room, squatting and benching. So.
Can you do how many pull-ups can you do?
I haven't maxed out a long time in college. We used to do that a lot. College I could get up to 15, 16, but
wow,
I haven't
312
maxed out in a long time. So we're Olympic lifting, which is good. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And then squatting and benching, which you can never go wrong with.
Dieter, in terms of your day-to-day, have you noticed, like, if you were to compare and contrast the different regimes from Pace and Nagy to Poles and Eberflus, is there a couple of things that are, completely different in terms of your day-to-day, with you being one of the rare guys that's involved with both regimes, that stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely different scheme. Obviously it's all different coaches. So, just in terms of like what you learn from different schemes, I really appreciate about it is, seeing things through a different lens.
Yeah.
Through a different scheme, like coaches will emphasize different things and you may have never thought of it from that angle, so that's probably the biggest change, I would say. But yeah, overall, I'm just really excited to be part of this regime and thankful that both of them gave me a shot to be here. So,
yeah.
Can you
just real quick, Phil, just to kind of double off that a little bit, is like if you have like a question or
trouble about
no, but I'm just saying, like, a question or a concern or anything like that. Is it can you just walk upstairs and go into Coach Flus's office with that, or to even to Ryan Poles or anybody like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if there's an issue, you can go talk to anybody. I've never had an issue, luckily. So, and I'm not somebody to ruffle feathers, and I don't think that there are any issues that warrant that kind of thing that I'm aware of. But if you need to go talk to him about anything, it doesn't even have to be an issue. It can be about anything. There's doors open. So, yeah.
And that's true for both regimes that you've been under?
Yeah.
Same type of deal? Great. Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Have you got... Oh, go ahead.
I think that when that's not the case, it's a sign of a not a
yeah.
Game, so.
Not a great situation, right? Exactly.
Have you gotten to meet the new president, Kevin Warren, of the Bears, and what has it been like with him now taking over? Have you felt any kind of difference there?
Yeah, it's been great. I met him lifting one day in the hallway, and then he came and spoke to us later in that week, and just hearing him speak, it was inspiring. Like, he really has a vision for this regime, and it's not just like, let's go get a few more wins this year. Like, he's aspiring to the highest goal, which is a Super Bowl. And if that's not the intent, then there's no point, and really getting that sense from him was really great. And I don't think that there's anybody better to lead us from that helm. Obviously there's, somebody who has the experience and the vision and is in line with everybody from top to bottom. That's a powerful thing.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you've seen any of the video, but the draft day calls, all the new draft picks that came in, Kevin Warren was a part of that. And that's not something that you really see a team president being a part of those calls. And one of the things that he said with each one of them is, you're going to help us win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, little things like that to me matter. It's that mindset. It really goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Dieter, with the HITS philosophy. If it's a daily focus, then it just becomes routine. Yeah. And if you're not striving for the Super Bowl, then what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I think that's great.
Yeah. I think everybody's pretty tired of talking about the 85 Bears. So.
Don't get me started, Peter. Don't get me started.
We preach that on this
all
network.
That shit. Hey, I'm the biggest Bears fan ever, and I'm so past that. Yep, fuck that.
Creighton has a question for you. It's interesting. When all said and done, do you have any thoughts on coaching this game?
Yeah, I mean, the coaches are really great. Like I talked about Simo prior, and he's really helped me to become a lot better player. And I really have a lot of faith in our scheme. It's done great with a number of teams. It's just all about execution. So, and it's a scheme that is sophisticated and simple at the same time. There's answers to everything. And, I really love our coaching staff a lot. So, a lot of times, you hear staffs and they don't, talk about things and they're not really about it. I think that this staff is about it, and they'll actually form relationships with you too. And you can go talk about, like non-football related stuff too, which is great.
Well, he wanted to know, maybe I got to phrase it for him. Would you, after your career is done, be interested in coaching offensive line or coaching football at all?
I don't know. I don't know at what capacity.
Gonna be making too much money on the fucking stock market, bro, to put in those hours.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of respect for coaches. It seems like a really hard world to get into at the top. Like my college quarterback is going through, the graduate assistant ringer. He's at Notre Dame now, which is great, but that's a profession where you have to pay your dues if you want to reach the top. So, and raising a family and moving 20 times in 14 years.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I could do that, so we'll see. Maybe, coach my son's, Pee-wee team, but that's probably about it, I think, for myself.
You got that Titleist hat on, Dieter. How's the golf game looking? Or you just like the hat?
No, big golfer, man. Yeah, enjoyed it. Played yesterday, which was great. So just a little scramble for fun with a few guys on the team.
All right, who's the shitty golfer, Dieter? Come on, you gotta tell him out. There's got to be one of them.
Got to be Tevin Jenkins. I would think he cannot golf.
Everybody's shitty at golf. There's just people who are not willing to admit it. So.
Yeah.
It was fun. It's you're spoiled for choice out here too. There's so many nice courses. So yeah, I love playing. Just hitting the driver well yesterday. Had a chip in on a par 3, so pretty pumped for that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Did you watch the PGA over the weekend?
Yeah, Michael Block, man.
Oh, crazy, right?
Crazy story.
Getting the text from MJ even. Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. I was watching it live when that slam dunk.
Oh, wasn't that was nuts, man. Absolutely.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, I have a hole in one, but I have a slam dunk hole in one. It's pretty crazy. So.
Oh, you got one? You have one too?
No, I don't have one.
Oh, all right.
Seeing Michael's,
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Even Nance's call on that, he's like, and it gets better. And that was it was perfect. Yeah.
That's great.
Is there somebody on the team that just doesn't shut their mouth and you're like, is there someone on the team that likes to run their mouth? And
no, not really that I'm aware of. What I really like about our locker room and, what our personnel guys talk about a lot is they want good character guys. So we don't have issues with guys, who are like that. So I'm really happy. I mean, I've definitely seen guys like that in the past, but they're no longer here. So usually when you're like that, you usually don't last long. So less talking, more doing. So
yeah. Hey, that's a great way to be right there. When QB1 with Justin was on that hot streak last year. What was it like just being on the sidelines? You know, back in the day when whenever there was a kickoff or a punt, when Devin Hester was back deep, you know, nobody was going to the bathroom or going to grab a beer. You know, on fourth down, they were sitting up on the, you know, edge of their seat watching it. And what was that like to experience, you know, live right there, just seeing some of the things that he was doing in terms of his ascension in the NFL game? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You know, some of the things that he did last year I've never seen done, you know, ever. So it's pretty special to be around a guy like that who can just, you know, on a dime, just change everything. So, and I think that he's going to take a huge step. So and when he does, everybody's in trouble.
Yeah. What makes you think? But I'm not trying to get, you know, secrets out of you, but like, what makes you think that? Just the, you know, talk on that a little bit. What makes you think that he's ready for that next step, or he's going to take that next step?
Well, just comfortability within the scheme, you know, that's a big part. You know, being in the same scheme for, you know, a good amount of time is going to help you see from a different lens and just become comfortable, you know, live in the matrix and execute in the matrix. That's not a easy thing to do, especially at that position. And then just improvement across all position groups. You know, if we can help make his job easier and he can make that next step, he's gonna get on a roll. That's what I think, and that's why I'm really optimistic.
We'll go back. Jermaine Ifedi starts yelling at Tevin Jenkins for this fight,
Minnesota
against Minnesota. Knowing you, is that shit going down with you this year? Like, are we going to be the bullies of the NFC, or how is this team preparing their attitude on the offensive line? Because they go with the first round pick. I had him as the second offensive tackle in the draft. I thought we all mocked him to the Bears, despite all of the Jalen Carter, all this Peter Skoronski, all that shit. This network stood by the tape, and we were huge fans of Darnell Wright because he brings an attitude. Just like we were huge fans of you because you bring that same kind of attitude. That's why we were huge fans of Tevin Jenkins for that attitude. Is that what Chris Morgan or Eberflus or Getsy, is that what they're looking for?
100%. You know, if you're not that, then you're not going to last long. That's part of the secret juice, you know. So if you don't go above and beyond the call of duty, then you know you're not going to be special. So if you have that edge to you, that's what scares defenses, you know, and that's what everybody should be. And especially on this, you know, thing we call offensive line, you have to be that. You have to crave that kind of violence to want to hurt people, you know.
And that's
I love it, man.
My ears.
I love it. So, Dieter, you talked about Justin, you know, taking that next step, and you feel like that if you take him out of the equation, can you give me a guy on offense and maybe a guy on defense that Dieter Eiselen looks at and is like, maybe, you know, not everybody in the NFL knows who this is, but man, I see these guys every day. I see the work ethic. I see the talent, and you better watch out, because I think this kid this guy may explode on the scene. They might take the next step.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, like I said, again, it's, you know, still early days, and we're like split up a lot, so I don't really get to see as much from other position groups. So once we get with the pads on, then we'll see what actually happens, because a lot of guys are great running t-shirts, but you know, we don't play football in t-shirts.
Yeah, fuck those rookies again. I love it.
Oh, he's dropping the truth tonight. If you're just tuning in, we got the great offensive lineman for your Chicago Bears, number 60 in your program, number 1 in your heart, Dieter Eiselen, all the way from South Africa. If you just tuning into the show. The story is surreal. Never played high school football in South Africa. Was a rugby player, right? Were you a professional rugby player?
No, I just played in high school and then decided to start pursuing football in high school.
And then you go to Rosemary Hall in me and Claudio's hometown of Wallingford, Connecticut. And then on a full ride to Yale University. And that brings me to my next question. New Haven style pizza, Dieter. Modern pizza. Am I lying about how good this pizza is?
No. New Haven pizza is the best, you know. I'm not a big deep dish guy, to be honest with you.
I don't blame you. I'm a New York guy, Dieter, and I was skeptical. I always heard Phil talking about New Haven, and I finally got down there, went down to Phil's place, and they took me and my family out to Modern. Claudio was there too. He doesn't remember me being there, but it was next level. I'm not gonna lie, but out of all of them down there, if Dieter is going out and Dieter's hungry, what's gonna be your go-to spot?
I don't know, man. Modern or Sally's, I don't know. It's hard. I really like them all for different reasons. So
yeah,
white clam pizza is great. You know,
yeah,
I really like that a lot. But I don't know. I can't just pick one. They're all too good.
You gotta go on the pizza tour. Sally. Yeah. I always have it Modern, Sally's, Pepe's. Now Pepe's is kind of become this franchise thing. They got it at the casino, they got it in West Hartford and
Fairfield,
exactly. They have it all over the place, and it kind of like loses its luster until you go down to Worcester Street. But Modern, to me, like I went back and did it, Dieter, this summer, this past actually through the fall after, and then again I hit all of them up until now, and I just Modern pizza just it's like burnt, but it doesn't taste burnt. You know what I'm saying? It's like unfucking believable. It's like it's people have to try this. And every time we go there, I take a picture of the Yale jersey and send it to Dieter every time.
So if you go to Modern, what is your go-to at Modern, Dieter?
Everything and anything. Can't just have one.
No, we didn't when we went. I know
we had like 25 small pizzas, and they were just trying everything.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Claudio forgot about it, but it was great.
You got to have everything. You got to be able to taste everything. So it's nice when you go with a big group of people and just order everything off the menu.
As long as you're not sitting in the waiting room for 2 hours for people to get out, but
it's worth it.
It is. You're damn right it is.
We gotta whenever you come back, we gotta go down and do that, man. I so appreciate your time. But before we let you go, some fun questions to get them out of the way with you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll let you go because I know you have OTAs and all this other stuff. I thank you so much for your time. You're a true amazing person and human being, and I mean that. Everybody on this network, the fans, there's a Dieter fan club that is a brother of TTNL Network, and the tape never lies, Dieter. The secret juice. That is going to be a quote. We might make a t-shirt for you. That's a quick question. I forgot. One of the fans, like, does Dieter ever wear his TTNL hoodie or t-shirt to the locker room? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, it's hanging in my locker. So
look at that.
There,
I need to tweet that out, Dieter. I'm not gonna lie.
Could you give us a tweet out there? That would be amazing. That's a good idea, Shay.
Yeah.
Tupac or Biggie?
I'm gonna go Pac.
Oh, Dieter, you're from the East Coast, man.
I don't know. It's something about his voice. It's something about his voice, man. It just hits, it just hits.
It hits.
All right. Are you Xbox or PS5?
Xbox.
Oh, my guy.
Shane.
Phil's a PlayStation guy. I'm Team Xbox. What's your go-to?
Can't afford a PS5 though.
What's your go-to game?
You know, I don't play as much as I used to. I like playing sports games, FIFA. I play PGA 2K so I can feel what it feels like to break
My
80.
son loves it. Yeah. Are you ever playing Madden and you're putting moving this dude up the fucking depth chart? This Iceland guy. Have you done that yet?
Yeah, it's fun.
I love it. What do you prefer, Marvel or DC?
I'm gonna go DC just for Batman, I'd say.
That's your thing.
Oh,
Did you see the new what was it? Guardians of the Galaxy?
I did, yeah. That's always fun.
How fucking dope was that movie? I was so impressed
I
with
haven't
that movie.
seen it yet, but I heard it's great.
Holy shit, it's so good.
Yeah. It's kind of sad but good. So
Yes, exactly. My wife was over there crying. I got a little emotional. No spoilers, but he's 100% right.
That's good.
I love it. Well, we'll get you out of here, man.
Yeah,
You've been
let's get him out of here.
So generous with your time. So,
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Are you in the team? Are you in the hotel for OTAs back there? That kind of looks like that behind you with that painting, Dieter. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I had a townhouse for 2 years that I was renting, and I let that lease go. So I'll try and find somewhere nice to stay once the season ends. But you know, no use in paying for rent when I'm not here. You know?
I hear you.
I hear you, bro.
Yeah.
I hear you. You got to invest that money somewhere else, and no one would know better than you.
Yeah.
I got to bring my money to you.
Yeah. I take high fees though. Just saying.
Yeah. Smart man.
Dieter, thank you so much for coming on. Do you remember this guy real quick? He met you down at training camp.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Forget the fucking handlebar mustache. Dieter's like, who the fuck is this unstable?
Gosh, man.
We will be sending him out to bother you again this summer.
Yes, I will be out there. I'll be looking for you, bro.
We're gonna get that juice. It's what was his exact quote? Because I want it on the T-shirt. It's in the juice or something.
Secret juice.
The secret juice.
Yeah.
There it is. I want that on a Dieter Eiselen tee. All right, Dieter. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Of course, fellas. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night, man.
Thanks,
See
Dieter.
you guys soon. See ya. Bye.
Thanks, Dieter.
See ya.
Dieter Eiselen.
Great.
Awesome.
Oh my! What an interview.
Awesome stuff.
If these guys are missing out on quoting our show and tagging TTNL in it tomorrow, then probably not doing their job.
Well, this, I'm stuck on the locker room aspect, and Ryan Poles talking time and time again. This interview in and of itself takes me back to Jalen Carter and why he's not a Bear.
Yeah, good point.
It's
I said it in my head when he said that.
Yeah,
I was gonna go Jalen, but I didn't want to be a dick.
No. But I'm just saying it's where the Bears are in this rebuild, but they're doing it with the right type of guys, and that inspires confidence. It may take a little bit more time with them doing it that way. If you hit on a Jalen Carter and all cylinders are firing and he's motivated, then that helps you out. But the downside is massive, and it can, alter the locker room completely. But I mean, just look at the guys that we've had. You talk about, just look at the two guys that aren't even starters in Travis Bell and Dieter Eiselen, the last two Chicago Bears players that we've had on here. And if you listen to those guys speak and talk, their passion for football and their work ethic, and there's no bullshit. There's no makeup on a pig there. Everything fucking matters to them. And to me, this is a tip of the cap to Ryan Poles over and over again, because I don't think people realize when you're an undrafted free agent, it's pretty fucking rare that you survive a regime change and a coaching change. Dieter has done that. That tells everybody there's something there. Maybe he's not quite ready. Maybe he just needs his shot. He's here for a reason. He's on this roster for a reason. They see something. It tells me that he's here because he's the right guy for this roster, this locker room, and for this rebuild. It's vitally important. It's a great thing.
You're 100% right. And if you're not pulling for Dieter Eiselen after listening to him be exactly what this show is, keeping it 100 on everything about passion on the line, knocking people to the ground, hurting people at some point, just going after protecting the quarterback, the things he had to say about Justin Fields. That interview, honestly, on its own, will be something people really should be going back and watching and listening, because that's what an offensive lineman should be. Dieter Eiselen, Shane's 100% right. The odds of him being on this team alone from South Africa and the journey, and then to survive 2 regime change. Like, the tape doesn't lie to me. I didn't pull for Dieter because I got to know Dieter. The tape said to me, every time he's gotten a shot, and don't give me this bullshit. Matt Nagy was a shoe salesman. We've seen politics played under Ted Phillips and company, and there seems to be a different energy that he even said he was moved. He was completely inspired by Kevin Warren's sentiment, because that's a quote right there. If you're not doing it for the Super Bowl, then why are you doing it? And I'm paraphrasing, but that's exactly what this network's about, what Dieter was about. I mean, he's a true friend. Yes, we've developed a friendship through this, but to come on here and just embrace when he hates cameras and doesn't want to be in the spotlight.
Phil, when he said that he'd hide from the cameras, I was like, bro, you're gonna be the first dude they go up to. South Africa, limited football.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're gonna be the number
It's a whole
one
story.
Guy. It's a whole
It is.
Story.
It is.
What they did. Look at what they did with I forgot his name from the Lions.
Blake Bortles?
No. Offensive line. His name's is leaving me right now, but like, he had the similar story, limited football from a different country. They're gonna be all up in your face. So it's like, I can see where he's like trying to go ahead and say, hey man, fuck all that. I'm not even trying to have them here.
The Dieter Eiselen proposal on Hard Knocks, maybe, Dieter?
Didn't sound like it. You said fiance. It's like girlfriend.
He's like, we got one more before the Commonwealth kicks in.
What did you say?
He's got one more year before the Commonwealth kicks in.
Common
law.
I love this show. I love you guys. That was a great interview. I have some family stuff going on, so I am gonna bounce early. But I would be remiss if I didn't speak, because I love to, on how therapeutic. I sent Dieter a text just now, and he responded immediately how much fun he had. But that was really amazing and therapeutic for me to hear him, because all of my beliefs of the Chicago Bears and this administration change with Kevin Warren and this football team with Justin and the offensive line and getting Darnell Wright and keeping Dieter Eiselen and moving on from fucking soft Mustafa, all of that stuff is going to matter. And winning a championship is going to matter. And when he said, I'm tired of talking about the 85 Bears, and Shane's eyes lit up like he drafted Fields again.
I fucking went to NFL.com and bought a fucking Iceland jersey when he said that.
That right there was what it's all about.
But it's the fucking truth, Phil. We went through it with Urlacher and Briggs and Kreutz. There was that animosity with the 85 Bears because these guys were getting a little bit of respect, and then they make the Super Bowl and all of that. And the Bears have been so downtrodden, and I know they still get clowned a lot from outsiders and whatever. And yes, they do have to prove it. But like I said, just to go back to what he was saying, when I was asking him about Dexter and about Pickens, and I loved that he didn't praise them. I loved that he said, well, we'll see when the pads get on. I fucking love that. There's no bullshit to it. He's just going to tell you the truth. They're fucking rookies. I don't give a fuck. They got to come in here and prove it. But the way that you can look at that, you have to turn it around and say he was telling the truth. He was being brutally honest. And what did he also tell you? I think Justin Fields is going to fucking explode. Yep. I think he's going to take a huge step this year. Players know. Yeah. They're the first fucking ones to know.
If he didn't believe it, he would not.
Mitch Trubisky was on this fucking team, and we interviewed Josh Woods on this fucking airwaves, on these airwaves at TTNL, and I asked him, who's the leader? And he couldn't fucking name anybody on offense.
Allen Robinson, maybe.
Maybe. That's a fucking problem. That's a huge red flag. Yeah. To a man, everybody says he's level. There's no highs, no lows in terms of his leadership. That's what a fucking leader is. You want a guy that's not up there in front of the crowd, playing to the crowd, reacting to every little fucking thing. You want to be a man on a fucking mission. You want to be fucking flatlined when the energy is up. You want to be flatlined when the energy is down. You want to bring people back up to where you're flatlined and they can go above. Like I said, he has huge expectations for this season. It wasn't about himself talking about this team. I'm not saying that they're going to go out there and they're going to kick the fucking door and they're going to win the Super Bowl. But the wins that they didn't get last year in the fourth quarter, you change half of those. You change 75% of those. You're talking about a completely different trajectory with this fucking team. And
that was with Swiss cheese.
This isn't a guy that is your, going to be ushered in as your starting center. Not saying that it can't happen. This is a guy that's lower on the depth chart saying this. That shit matters. It absolutely fucking matters. They're going out and golfing. He's not going out there and golfing with his buddies away from football. What did he say? He's out there with a bunch of his teammates.
Exactly.
That camaraderie matters. They're building this locker room the right fucking way. And like I said, we may not always agree with it. It can be a slow process and upset us because this society nowadays wants instant gratification. That's just the way that it is. You see it with your fucking kids, everything. It's not that way. You build it. There's a proper way to build it. If it takes an extra season, then fucking so be it. We've waited a long fucking time. And I honestly, truly feel like Ryan Poles is doing this the right way. I really do, with the right people.
You saw it tonight with Dieter Eiselen. If you missed the interview, you're going to have to go back and watch it. I always say this, TTNL is family and family first. Smash the like button. Let other people know about the network. I am going to practice what TTNL preaches and ask you fans to send some positive energy my family's way. We've been dealing with a lot of stuff, a lot of difficult things to talk about, which I won't tonight. And I truly would appreciate your thoughts and prayers sent to my family. Tonight really helped me a lot. And I love you guys for that. Claudio, Ivan, Cherie, and Shane. I know I'm short, right? That was a great interview back. If we never have a script, I never know what he's going to ask. I never know what I'm going to ask. And that was one of my favorite interviews. And because I love Dieter, the person, but I'm really pulling for him, the player. And I believe in that guy, but the reality of the Chicago Bears through Dieter's eyes, who I trust, is so important. And lastly,
Phil, just real quick before you move off of that, I think it's important to remember that the Bears also believe in him.
Exactly.
Yep. They tendered him. The big deal. They didn't tender Sam Mustipher. They let him walk. That's don't overlook that.
Well, remember what they said? They said they were looking for Grizzlies, right?
Exactly.
So those are the type of players, free agency, anybody that they're going forward with in their mind are Grizzlies, Dogs, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And Shane, I've shared some screenshots, Dieter, I'm sorry, with Shane from some of Dieter's comments that we won't share. But Shane knows, like, Dieter gets it. Like, he is ready to fucking compete.
He proved it tonight, Phil. You can see it. And I mean, he's talking about 312, and I almost brought it up with him, and I didn't want him to be offended because obviously he's made it here for a reason, but you see a transformation physically in Dieter. When you saw him at the Bears Care Gala, I saw him and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He looks, I know he's growing his hair out a little bit and stuff like that, and that changes the looks. But that transformation physically, and you can just see it in his face. You hear it in his demeanor that he's locked in. I think the tip of the cap from the organization to tender him was that boost of confidence that these guys believe in me. You know, I'm a part of this. They know that he's still young in his journey, you know, to the NFL. And I go back, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up anybody's ass with this. It's hard enough to make it here if you grow up playing football from 5 years old on. Imagine that transition being in South Africa and not even playing high school football and being 19 years old. And then you think about the extreme amount of God-given ability that you must have bottled up inside of your body to get to where you are today, to survive this.
Well, I think a
transition.
big part is also his intelligence. The dude is
100%, man.
Hell yeah.
So you put those two together for an
three.
offensive line.
He's got three pieces.
He was
His
talking about
intelligence, his demeanor, and his athleticism. I got to bounce. Finish up. You guys can finish this up. I just want to send a shout out to Jim Larison and his beautiful wife Jen. 25 years of marriage they're celebrating. We'd be remiss to not shout out the Larisons tonight.
Tell you shit in your hat and get the hell up.
Jesus Christ, Coach, calm down.
Love you guys. All the best. We'll see you. Thank you, guys.
Love you, bro. I'm the captain now. Fuck that.
No, I was just saying his violent nature, like you could tell all those things, everything that we said. He's intelligent, his demeanor, his, like you had mentioned, Shane, that little push over where he has a confidence to where he belongs now.
Yeah.
You know, now he knows, and now he could go after it. But that violent, when he talked about it, you know, getting violent, I was like, that's exactly how you have to fucking be.
He reminds me of the box, you know, when there's a lead up to a fight and you got one boxer's talking a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah.
The other one is just sitting there saying, let's go. I'm ready to fight. Like
growing up,
just ready to just go.
We've all been in the situation. I'm sure. I know I have plenty of times, but one thing that my father always told me is like, hey, you're ever in a situation and you're out at a bar and, you know, maybe you've drank a little bit too much, and everybody knows that sometimes I run my mouth a little bit too much, so you can get into some situations, but it's the dude that's running their mouth the entire fucking time that you don't really have to worry about. It's the fucking dude sitting over in the corner that's scoping out the entire area, that's just quiet. That's the fucking dude that you want to watch. You want to keep your eye on. And that reminds me of Dieter. He's got a little bit of that silent assassin in him, you know, but he's just, I go back to the rookies comment.
I did say a lot.
It's great. It's just like, Listen,
they didn't show me shit. There's no pads yet. Let's go.
Yeah,
You know,
we'll put the pads on, and then we'll see. You know, everybody that we've talked to about Dexter, everybody's like, "Oh my god, this dude, he's huge." You know what I mean? And Pickens and that whole thing. None of that matters to these guys, and that's exactly what you want. You have to go step by step. You have to earn your fucking merit in this league. And like I said, I go back to this front office, and I think that is a key component. I don't want guys here that are saying, you know, I was the number 9 pick in the NFL draft on the best defense in college football. If Jalen Carter was here, I don't want that. I don't want your expectations. I don't want you saying I'm here because I'm the fucking man and that's it. You want guys that it's not good enough that I was the 9th pick. Why wasn't I the 8th pick? Why wasn't I the 7th pick? Why wasn't I the 6th pick? You want that improvement. You want those guys that are willing to go out there and put their fucking nose down and to get dirty and to fight for it. And if you build the bottom of your roster up with guys like that, it's going to push everybody else up. Listen, just to get off Dieter for a second, Justin Fields went out there. I don't know if you guys listened to him talk about Chase Claypool. It sounds like Chase Claypool had a horrible fucking attitude when he came here, and his work ethic fucking sucked. Mark Potash talked about it. I think it was the Jets game. Was it the Jets game? One of the games, he had a little bit of a meltdown. Chase Claypool did. And they're talking about going into the locker room, and Chase Claypool's just going off. And Justin Fields talked about the work ethic has improved. The attitude has improved. And, you know, you get that coming to Jesus moment where, guess what, Chase? Yeah, we invested in you. 2nd round draft pick that ended up being very, very high. We went out and got the fucking man in DJ Moore because you didn't live up to expectations. And guess what? You're not even number 2 here now because of Darnell Mooney, if he's healthy. That transformation doesn't happen in a weak locker room. It doesn't happen with a weak front office, with a weak coaching staff. So my expectations for Chase Claypool, I know a lot of people are limited with him. I know I was talking to Ryan Cox and Cars about this a little bit earlier. I have a good feeling about it. You know, that he's putting in the work. And I don't undersell Justin Fields kind of saying that the attitude changed, the work ethic has changed. Sometimes players need that. Guess what? You're not the fucking man here. You're not the number 1. But if he came here and he blew up, guess what? There's no DJ Moore trade. Let's be honest. They're not making that deal.
You had asked Dieter about how, I think Dieter just mentioned it, how they're doing a good job of getting these guys together, the camaraderie, them going to outings, them having meetings, them just talking about life instead of talking about football and stuff like that, and building that bond. I want to know how much time Justin, I'm sure there was, because we talked about it close to the end of the season or whatever. We were talking about, him and Darnell and Chase Claypool better be out there, in the offseason working with Justin, going over play. Like they just better be together some way, somehow. And, lo and behold, thankfully something clicked in Chase Claypool, like you had mentioned, Shane, and they're doing that. They're doing just that. So hopefully he has the year of his life. And, that panic of, oh my God, we lost that second or the first overall in the 2nd round, the de facto 32. Number 1. Yeah, the de facto number 1, our first rounder. I mean, it all dies down. So I'm happy they got to work. I'm happy Chase Claypool has turned the corner because he is a really good and talented wide receiver.
Yes.
That, if he could just go ahead and harness his potential, can really be an asset for us. And with DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney, we all love Darnell. You know what I mean? That right there is dangerous if he could go ahead and take that step.
I totally agree, man. And listen, I'm on record saying that I wouldn't have made the Chase Claypool trade at the time. I wouldn't have. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And listen, it's not an easy transition to get traded mid-season, come to a team, expectations are through the roof, and if you don't have the proper attitude, it's a recipe for disaster. And like I said, you just look to the Bears making the Carolina deal in and of itself speaks so much overall to this team, their thoughts on Chase Claypool, but it's not really a bad thing because it pushes. You bring DJ Moore here. Is DJ Moore a top 7 wide receiver in the NFL? A top 10? Probably not overall in the NFL, but that's not a bad thing at all. But what it does on this team is he pushes everybody down a notch to where they need to be. You put Mooney at number 2. You put Chase Claypool down at number 3. It pushes everybody down to where they need to be. And everybody gets so caught up Darnell Mooney going to make that transition to number 1. And it doesn't, we want guys to go out there and make fucking plays. I don't give a shit where you are on the depth chart. Go out there, make fucking plays. Let's win some ball games. I think this team is slowly adding guys that everything matters to them. The game of football matters. And being a second-round draft pick, being a first-round draft pick is not good enough. And like I said, when you have a potential second or third string center, which right now Dieter is, let's be honest, preaching that means the fucking message from up above has gotten through to these guys. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter, man. It doesn't matter where you were, where you got drafted. You put on the pads, you step between the lines. You better fucking show up, or you're not going to be here anymore. I mean, I love it. Like I love it. It brings competition. This type of environment breeds competition. I'm really excited. I know OTAs are going on now, but I'm really excited to get to training camp and see what the fuck these guys could actually, do.
Totally agree, man. And we've heard. I've talked to a couple of different people that have been there, at OTAs, and they said you just watch DJ Moore, and it's just different from what they had last year. The initial explosion off of the line is what they have not had, and that makes him get open quicker. You're talking about the guys creating separation. That was a problem. It wasn't all just that. Sometimes Justin Fields was late delivering the ball. He had 2 hitch routes in OTAs, Justin did, where he was late, but he's starting to build this camaraderie with these guys, the timing. He had a deep ball, and nobody's been talking about it too much. He had a deep shot to Scott down the sideline, and Scott laid out, had the ball in his grasp, but didn't hold it through him rolling on the ground. He's got to do that. But this is the time when they get those things worked out. One person that had a nice OTA so far, Velus did. Darnell Mooney's not back yet. Velus has stepped up. So that, you look back to last season. Listen, there's been nobody more critical of Velus Jones than me. Hated the fucking pick the night it was made. Made that very public when they did it. Hated it. Still wouldn't draft Velus Jones at 71 if I was calling the shots. Knowing what I know now, still wouldn't do it. Doesn't matter. He's here. He stepped up at the end of the season. He started to make some plays. He's continued that in these first couple practices of OTAs, working in the offseason. You see him with the jugs machine. That work ethic, we see this. It's not just DJ Moore doing it. It's not just Cole Kmet doing it. It's not just Darnell Mooney, Velus Jones. It's all of these guys. They're bringing in football players, and it all matters to them. Again, tip of the hat to the front office.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just thinking Velus, if he could step up, it's fine. I know you've been critical. I was critical of. I would have cut his ass. I really would have.
Yeah.
But
you can't drop. Listen, you can't put the ball on the fucking
exactly
on the ground.
Exactly. But if he's willing to step up, or he's taking that step, just like a Chase Claypool, you got to welcome it. You got to welcome it, and that's all you could ask for with these guys. Still, to me, I feel like you're gonna see. Excuse me. You're gonna see a lot more of the tight ends being used. I think this year. I think you're gonna see a lot more of Cole Kmet. I think they're gonna try to get him the ball a lot more, scheme him to get the ball a lot more.
Cole Kmet's getting an extension. I know Phil doesn't agree with it. It's fucking happening.
Right.
Mark it down in fucking stone. It is happening.
I feel like they're gonna. I mean, along with having these guys, I think they will try to get the ball to Cole Kmet a lot more, just because I think that they're gonna do exactly what Shane said and sign him to a contract. It might not be a record-breaking contract.
He's not Travis Kelce. That's the thing everybody needs to get. He's not that, but that's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, you could have him. He knows the system. He does a solid job for you. If he could, that step that we saw him take, or hopefully we didn't imagine it. Step we saw him take. Hopefully he goes ahead and he continues and builds on that. And it's a big year for him. It's a huge year for him.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of guys, and I mean, Sharik, Claude, you guys can chime in on this. Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, Justin Fields. Those four guys all on offense. It's huge for all of them. Khalil Herbert, what are they going to do? This is another guy that's going to be a with his contract. Are they going to be willing to invest in him? I'm not sure if they are. And I know everybody gets excited about Khalil and in all of that. I just find that I have a hard time believing they're going to invest legitimate money into Khalil Herbert with all of the praise that they're heaping on Rashawn Johnson. It's just.
But you're
Deontay Foreman.
Yeah, I was gonna say with running backs, you also see this trend that a lot of teams aren't willing to jump in and invest long term. They get them their rookie contract and move on to the next because now you can draft them. So
totally agree, and that's what it is. And I think a lot of people, I'll throw this out there, and people can call me crazy. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Travis Homer. I don't think people realize that this kid can fucking play. He hasn't gotten a legitimate shot, but if you want to talk about a dude that will do what Khalil Herbert does not do in terms of pass blocking, go put Travis Homer's tape up.
Very physical. He could break tackles.
Yeah. Well, he's a big special teams guy.
And he could block. Oh yeah,
he is. But he's even beyond that, Claude, because you can hand the ball off to this kid. This kid will get.
Oh yeah.
This
got
kid
his chances in Seattle.
I totally agree. I think he's a very. Is he going to come in and lead the league in rushing? No, that's not who he's going to be. But he's going to make an impact on this team, and that was not a 1-year deal. I believe Homer signed a 2-year deal. And it's going to be this backfield. And I know Demo came out and made some, don't want to call them volatile comments, but
what did he say?
Taking his shot, at the Bears, just saying that, he's a competitor and playing football that matters. And feels nice to be in a place where, football matters and winning. And I'm like, bro, you went to the fucking Lions. Right. Let's pump the fucking brakes on you going.
Listen, the Lions got a lot of confidence.
Well, they do. They have a lot of fucking hype.
Did you see the interview Mooney had with Amon Ra and
No, yeah, Amon Ra just needs to pipe the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Make the playoffs first before you want to run.
Mooney said
mouth.
He's like, you're still the Lions, bro.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's It's easy. What did Mike Tyson say? It's easy to run your fucking mouth until you get punched in the fucking face.
Yeah.
So
Travis Homer does have a 2-year contract, $4.5 million. Yeah, 4.5.
So it is what it is. And listen, Demo, the person, class act, loved the player, didn't it? You guys know Phil and I were on different ends of the spectrum. Pay the guy, whatever it is. What it sounds like. Listen, I don't want to sell out Demo. It sounds like it. Listen, the Bears.
It sounds like fighting words to me. Like that's what it sounds like.
Listen, I got no doubt in my mind he's gonna ball out.
The Bears offered Demo a contract, pretty much the same deal as Detroit. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. I'll probably shouldn't be saying this, but I'll just tell you the truth. That was the deal that he got from Chicago, and he chose Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, I was okay with the first part of his statement. I get it. Losing can take the fun out of stuff. But then to take that extra dig to be like, well, I'm glad to be where, let's pump, like you say, it's Detroit. Let's pump the brakes on a winning culture.
Yeah, right. A winning culture. And they thought so fucking much of you that they spent the 12th pick in the draft on a running back. So
yeah, I'm good with the running backs that we have. I like Demo. I still like Demo. You know what I mean? I don't expect anything less though. You know what I mean? Like, and not saying that he took it's like a dirty shot. It's a shot, but I wouldn't expect nothing. He's a competitor. He's got a new team. He's in a happy place right now. You know what I'm saying? He got what he wanted. If he's happy,
paid. And listen, I'm never going to be against a guy getting paid.
Right.
Listen, Demo's got a young family. I know he's got a nephew that's got medical issues and is health issues. So him being secure financially is a big part in helping in that. And Demo the man, Demo the person. Love it. But listen, we've been down this road 100 times before, and we know how this plays out. The Bears are going to play Detroit. They're going to get down to the fucking 1 yard line, and Demo is going to get the fucking ball, and he's going to pound it in. He's going to have a game where he's got 3 touchdowns against the Bears. NFL Network's going to fucking blow up, and it is what it is. It's fine. And then guess what? Demo's going to be on a different team within 2 years, and then he's going to be on another team after that. It's the nature of the position, and it's nothing against Demo. It just is what it is. It's business. You don't fucking don't pay these guys. You just don't. Rashawn Johnson, we all love him. We're all excited. The Bears are excited, and guess what? In 4 years, we're going to be in the same fucking boat, guys. It just is. It is what it is.
No, I 100% agree with you. I just think it's with this running back room, Demo's not needed here. Like we have a bunch of guys. You had mentioned Travis Homer. Talked about Roschon Johnson. That guy is just like the dark. I would say the dark horse to be the number one guy for the Bears. Like he really could be. And watching the tape, seeing how he runs, seeing how violent he could be, as well, seeing how well he pass blocks. The guy can really be a 3-down back if you wanted it to. But, with the rotation that I'm sure they're going to be in, it's going to look something like San Francisco. You know what I mean? It's going to look like that. And they run that really well with the
Sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up. Right.
Where would San Francisco be right now with Justin Fields at quarterback?
Really good.
In the fucking Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, really good.
Where they'd be.
Yeah, I agree. But I can see it happening like that. So, long story short, Demo's just laying the foundation for the season. Like I said, feeling himself. It is what it is. It is what it is. Just be ready because I hope somebody on defense is taking notes and saying, all right, not that you hate the man, but you're going to go out there in between the lines and try to put him in the dirt. Like that's just what it is.
Right. That's
like,
what you want.
I hope that's the
That's
mentality.
what football is. Yeah. So Bullets put up a question here to me. Shane, do you think the Ryan Poles is relying on analytics to build his roster? And I do. Yeah. I mean, is it the only thing he's relying on? No, not at all. I don't think that at all. I mean, listen, I'm not an analytics guy, but it is a piece to the puzzle that you're crazy if you don't, add into your arsenal for information gathering. You have to incorporate all of this into it. Analytics is going to be a big part of it. Listen, if you were relying on analytics solely, Braxton Jones isn't your starting left tackle last year. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? And I know that's maybe that's a poor example, but I'm just saying it's a piece to the puzzle. It's not the puzzle. And it should be. Minnesota, I think analytics is more than just a piece. I think it's the leading philosophy there. I think that's going to end up being a problem for Minnesota. I don't think that should be the leader in the direction that you take. So, is it a piece? Yes, I do. I think it's a piece. It's not the be all end all at all. You shouldn't dismiss it, but you also shouldn't say that those are numbers. We're just going to base everything solely on tape because, listen, I know we are TTNL. The tape never lies. It doesn't lie, but at the same time, if you believe in a player, you can talk yourself into what you're seeing. Ivan, you've cut enough clips of all 22 tape. We've all fucking watched it. You and I can look at the same fucking clip 50 times and see it differently every single time. Just like the next person can. Claudio can see it differently. Cherie can see it differently. It's just sometimes, like Marcus Davenport was a free agent defensive end. I think the guy is very mundane, not even average, would have zero interest in having him on my roster. Phil loves the guy. Who's right?
Right.
Based on tape, he makes some plays. Based on tape, he's very mundane and average. That's who it is. Everybody sees things differently. So that's where the tape does lie sometimes. Sometimes you only see what you want to see. If Phil's breaking something down, Phil may say, hey, I see this. That's not what I want. I look at something and I say, Jervon Dexter, I don't like the get off, but I can see the upside there with our coaching. You have to be able to have the ability
that's the other
to
part
project.
Of it,
yes,
coaching. Because
it
the
is
coaching can
100%.
get stuff out of people that maybe they didn't show on tape because they were in a different situation, different coaching. So
and scheme matters, responsibilities matter. When you are as big, and I'm not sure people realize how big Dexter is. He's fucking huge, and he's young, and he's a piece of clay. And I think the Bears look at him. Listen, if the Bears took Jalen Carter at number 9 and didn't trade down with Philly, Dexter's very likely not a Bear. So you look at it, he was their next option. Really. Kalijah Cansey, Phil was a lot higher on him than I was. I like him. I just didn't love him to take him where the Bears were. I could never justify that.
Yeah, 20 mid 20s and later, I would have done it.
Eric Kramer's mock draft, when we did that, when he traded up and got him, I can understand it. Totally get it. Him next to Vita Vea, love it.
Mm-hmm.
Him in Chicago as a centerpiece, next to Justin Jones. Do you love it as much? I don't. You know what I mean? So fit matters, but I don't want to say that the tape does lie, but the tape can make you, I don't know what I'm really trying to say, but it can dictate if you believe in a player, you can see what you want to see.
Yeah, I think
Bill Robinson. Tape
yeah,
doesn't lie, the mind lies.
You can lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can lie to yourself about what you're seeing because of your conviction with a certain player. I agree. I totally agree. Like, you know, some like Shane you had pointed out a player. I had the same thing with AA from Northwestern. I didn't like him at all. I was just like, I don't see any type of push, but you know, it is what. And he got drafted. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't a shit type player, but he was a player that I personally I just don't like it. I don't like it for the Bears right now. And like you said, we all got different types of opinions when we're watching tape, but it's just for me. If you are just a casual person passing through, you're probably going to miss a lot more than somebody that has been sitting here doing it, you know, more often than normal people do, like day in and day out type of stuff. So
no, I totally agree. And that's one thing that's always fascinated me about what we do here with tape analysis is just with Phil Cars and myself, because we've been together the longest. It's funny. We can all look at a player. Cars can have a thought. I can have a thought. Phil can have a thought. And it can be completely fucking different. There's been plenty of players where Phil has absolutely loved and banged the table for a player. And I'm like, Phil, I don't see it.
It's actually more of a shock when you all three agree on players.
It is. And that's and when that happens, it's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. When we do all agree on a player, I'm like, man, I feel like, what are we missing? Why do we have consensus? Because it doesn't happen a lot. And listen, what we do, it's a fucking sickness. It is, because my studio, I have a big, beautiful TV right over here. There's been plenty of times where Hila has said, I got to go do this, or I'm going to hop in the shower. Can you watch Emerson? Yeah, I'm watching her. Hell yeah. And she's on the floor, and I'm like, here, take my phone. I'm going to put Coco Melon on here for you. There you go. She's nice and quiet. And here I am watching fucking tape of Javon Dexter from Florida being like, God, just explode. Just go. Just fucking go, please. You know, and Emerson's looking at me like, what are you talking? You know, I'm this beautiful baby right here. Pay attention to me. And here I am rewinding the second down play versus Arkansas for the 37th time, writing down notes. And it's a sickness, but it's also why we're pretty fucking good at what we do, because we take it seriously. I've had many misses. Phil has had misses. Cars, Claudio, Ivan, Cherie, all of us have. This is not a perfect process by anybody, but you have to be committed to it. And I love it. There's beyond my family, beyond all of that. My family is first. Me watching these guys. Listen, I love watching the Bears. I love grinding through the tape, getting ready for the draft. I love it. It's in me. It's what I want to do. And listen, people can call me fucking crazy. I feel like I'd be pretty fucking good if I got to call the fucking shots doing this stuff. I really do.
Hey man, it's believe in yourself. We do it enough, and we talk to enough people to where you have that type of knowledge. Like Shane has knowledge. On top of that, we all bring something to the table. But like having that belief in yourself, I agree with you. I think we really bust our ass here, and the commitment that we give is it makes this network what it is. But speaking of sickness, how many times have you watched Coco Melon today?
Oh my God, bro. I just recently disconnected DirecTV because of the, Sunday ticket thing, did all that. And has my internet been good tonight? I just switched internet. I'm on Fios now, so it's all fiber and hopefully it's all good. But I'm a YouTube TV guy now. And when you just click that little check mark on Coco Melon, it records every motherfucking episode ever. Yeah, she loves that shit. And
you're gonna miss your pal Greg from India.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know all about Coco Melon, but I'm pissed. There's no History Channel on YouTube TV. I fucked that up, but we'll have to give that. I'm a big History Channel guy.
They don't have a package. They usually have they probably.
Yeah, I think you can add it separately to it, but I haven't done that yet. But I don't know. I'm a History Channel buff. I don't know if that shocks people, but I am.
Me, but yeah.
It shocks you?
Actually,
oh yeah.
No, it doesn't, because one thing I commend you for is your recall ability. Like you can be like, oh, who was drafted in 1996 in the second round? You have that recall. So actually, it's not shocking when I think about it.
What's your shows you watch on there? What are the shows you
Listen, you guys are gonna kill me.
Ancient Aliens.
No, I'm not that. I'm a big fucking The Curse of Oak Island guy.
No.
Yes.
No, dude.
I am.
My wife watches that show. I don't understand it. Listen, if anybody doesn't know what this show is,
I don't.
Okay, it's these guys, I don't know, the brothers or whatever, who spend millions of dollars looking for a buried treasure. If they find that treasure, they're gonna break even, dude. They've been spending
well,
millions of dollars.
Let's be honest. They're paying them a lot of money.
Yeah, they are.
They
find a fucking rusty nail.
They found some pretty cool fucking shit though. They found some rubies and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's these two brothers from Michigan. Two brothers from Michigan, and it's this island, Nova Scotia, is where it's at, and it's just I caught it early. And I'm probably with your wife. You're like, they're gonna find fucking something. They're gonna find something.
I stopped watching was it season 4?
Oh,
it's got to be what, season 8?
Oh no, it's beyond that. I think they're like 10 or 11.
You might be into some of that stuff. I just don't get it with my wife why she's into it, because she's not into history really that much about this stuff. So, but she just something about that show.
Steve Bullets knows. He's checked. No, I'm a big World War II buff, stuff like that. Like my grandfather was in the Navy, stationed in Okinawa, and I can remember, before he passed away, just loved it. I would go to his house and talk to him about all of that, and just like Eel's father. Like people probably know, but in case you don't, Eel's parents live in Czech Republic, in a town outside of Prague called Náměšť Nahane. And when I went over there, like for the very first time, it was kind of cool as hell, because Eel's father, I don't know the fucking language, and he's like drawing shit to ask me, like, do you really love my daughter? And I'm like, bro, yeah, we pounded out a kid. Fuck yeah, no, I love her. Yeah, but I think I fucking flew over here because I don't love her. Yeah, she's pretty fucking dope. And he's a huge history buff, and he's a huge History Channel fan and loves Pawn Stars. And like when I'm told him, like, hey, you know the fucking art appraiser, Brett Maley? Yeah, I know him. He's in my fucking phone right. Like, what? You know, he totally fucking blown away by it. But it's just, you know, small world, but all that shit's, you know, awesome. But yeah, I'm
Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, tell him, Brett. I'm a History Channel fan. So is my son, by the way.
Actually,
my
brought
son
up
is the same way.
Brett Maley. I don't know if you saw his post, but you know, positive vibes to his sister is having brain surgery. So he posted that today.
Oh no, I did not. I did not see that. Absolutely, Brett.
She
Yeah,
brought him up, and I actually remember seeing that today. So everybody, if you want to reach out to him,
I will text him when I get off the show tonight. Absolutely, yeah. It's you know, all that shit matters, guys. Listen, we've all had our trials and tribulations. I know Cherie's dealt with family stuff. Claudio, you have. Ivan, you definitely have, and just as well as I am. You know, I was sitting in my house last night. My phone went off, and this girl that I knew years ago, I looked down and I'm like, oh, my friend Autumn texted me, and I'm like, I haven't heard from her in years. And she's like, hey, just checking in, seeing what's going on. My sister just found out that her daughter has brain cancer. And I'm like, oh, you know, it's just instantly you hit that fucking rewind button. And like I said, I was very lucky with Riley and how everything worked out. But it's still, listen, when you're told that your child has cancer, the fucking first thing that you think of is my son or daughter or whomever is gonna die. That's it. That's first. That's what you default to. So, you know, I was texting her back, and she's like, if she's up to it and willing, would you be willing to talk to her? You know, just about, you know, listen, guys, when you get that news, there's just so much that goes into it. You know, it's hard to even describe. I know, you know, Ryan Cox been through it in even at a different level than me. And like, I don't want to rehash all of this. It's just, you literally hear something in your fucking world crack. You know what I mean? When you get those words. I was at work and I was in my car when I found out about Riley, and I dead ass drove probably, I don't know, a quarter of a mile and had no idea my vehicle was moving when the doctor told me that Riley had cancer. It's just, you know, it's Claude, you know, man, you know, when all this went down, Ivan, you weren't here yet, but it's just, it's a different level. And unfortunately, Autumn's sister's little girl, she has tumors on her brain and on her spine. And it's an extremely aggressive cancer. And it's just, you know, it's no child should have to, you know, bear that, suffer through it. And just to, when the ear, nose, and throat specialist told me with Riley, when he was the one that broke the news to me, he talked for 10 minutes and didn't stop fucking talking. And he's like, you know, we'll get him down to Syracuse. We'll get him into Galasanos. We'll start chemo. And I'm like, what? And he's like, well, yeah, we're going to start him on chemo. And I'm like, but you told me that everything was okay. Why is he taking chemo? And he's like, well, Shane, your son has cancer. That's exactly how I fucking found out.
Wow.
Just like that.
Damn.
And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, if I could reach through this fucking phone, I would honestly break your fucking neck right now. That's what I said to him. And he's like, Dad, listen, stop. This is going to be much harder on you than it is on him. That's what he told me. And I was so fucking pissed. But now, me removed from all of it, it was like the truest fucking information and knowledge that he could have given me, because it was so fucking true. like the death sentence that you think is coming in for your son or for your child that has cancer, it's like you have cancer. Like my fucking son is a motherfucking superhero. Really. I'm the biggest fucking baby in the world. I could not have done what my son did. He's on a different level. He's stronger than me. He's better than me on every fucking level as a human being. I could not have done what my son did. Couldn't have done it. I don't like to be fucking sick at all. I'm the biggest fucking baby ever. And he told me that, and I was talking to Autumn about it. I'm like, this is going to be a lot harder on mom and dad than it is on her. And she's like, what? And I'm like, it's just kids are so fucking resilient and strong. And maybe it's because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's amazing. Like, listen, my son's 12. He's going to be 13 in February, and he thinks he fucking knows everything, and yeah, exactly. And, I love him to death and stuff like that. But I'm like, I look at him every fucking day. Like literally, this is no bullshit. I walked into his room this morning, got him up, was going to get him up for school. And I just sat there and I looked at him for like fucking 30 seconds. And I'm like, man, what have we been through for the last 2 years? It's crazy. He's sitting there with his fucking mouth open, drool coming down his face, shit like that. I'm like, man, we've really been through it as a family. And he listen, you want to talk about a tough fucking day? When you're walking up your fucking steps in your house and your son's like, I'm going to be sick. And so he runs into his bathroom right off of his bedroom, and he drops down to his knees and he's fucking puking and his hair's falling out of his head. That's some fucking perspective. Yeah. And I'm not built that. I'm not like that. I'm the fucking, when I get sick now, I still want my mom. You know what I mean? And my mom's 83 years old. I'm a fucking pussy. My son he's a fucking superhero, and kids are resilient, and it is tougher on mom and dad. Ivan, you can speak to it. You've been through medical drama, and it's fucking amazing how resilient kids are.
Yeah, I mean, to bounce back, like really, I never thought Bo was gonna bounce back as fast as he did, but
yeah,
he's okay now, and I do that same thing. Just kind of imagine like what I imagine a lot of things, like where I would be without this kid and stuff like that. I think about him a lot. So, but I understand it completely, man. It's hard. It's hard to think about your kids being, helpless.
It is, man. When I was talking to Autumn last night, I was just sitting there, and it takes you back to all of that. And I went to YouTube, and if you go to just my personal YouTube, I posted you guys. Well, like I said, Ivan, you weren't here yet, but if you guys remember, it was the Halloween show, and it was actually two of the biggest moments ever in TTNL history happened on that show that night, our Halloween show. Cherie was dressed up as a witch. You can still see her in her hat. It was Claudio's daughter's 19th birthday, and she was going to a concert in Philly.
Oh, it was that one.
Yep,
that was the one. Yeah,
I played the fucking yep. So that was one of the best clips ever. And at the end of that show, during the shout outs, I played the video that I just made with my thumbs on my iPhone of Riley, because during his journey defeating cancer, Hila, as much as I love her, is completely different than I am in terms of social media and pictures and sharing things. Like, she doesn't have Facebook. She doesn't have Twitter. She does have Instagram, but it's locked up, and she's not even fucking friends with me on Instagram. She, just she's viciously private. She doesn't like me posting pictures. Like, Sheree, I've sent you a couple pictures of Emerson and videos lately. She fucking hates it that I do it with anybody. There are kids. Nobody else needs to see it. Doesn't love it at all. Totally different than I am. And I posted that YouTube video of Riley's journey. I can post it for the patrons in case you haven't seen it. But she was almost to the point where, like, literally almost to the point where I thought our relationship was over because she was so pissed that I shared that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, I want you to take it down. And I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. I'm not. I'm proud of my son. I'm proud of him for what he went through, for what he defeated, and for where he's going. And I wanted the fucking world to see it. And she didn't really agree with it, but a couple of weeks later, after people were DMing and texting and comments on the video, she finally understood it, because it gave me confidence, it gave Riley confidence. And when Riley was taking chemo at Golisano's Children's Hospital in Syracuse, I always had a big problem with it. It was very, very tough for me to walk in there, because you walk down a long corridor of kids from 3-4 years old all the way up to 18 that all have cancer, and they're all hooked up and taking chemo every time you're there. And when Riley was lucky enough to be at the end of his journey, when the cancer was out of his system, everybody knows you get to ring the bell to let the world know that you're cancer free. And that was the end of his video. I think Claude and Sheree, you probably remember when I played it. And they asked him to go ring the bell. And Dr. Seema, when we were in the room, I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want him to do it. And she's like, well, what do you mean? He deserves it. And I said, I know he does, but when you ring the bell, a lot of people don't realize you're not in a secluded room.
Yeah.
When you're ringing that bell, there's 40 fucking kids over there taking chemo. And when it's your kid and you see a child that's over there that's 3 or 4, and believe me, I've seen some fucking horrific fucking things down there with children. Awful. That I don't even want to talk about. But she's like, no, Shane, you're 100% wrong. And I'm like, how am I wrong? I know that I'm right. I feel guilty. He's ringing the bell while all these kids are going through. And if you've never seen your kid be sick from chemo, it's the worst fucking feeling in the world. There's no way to describe it at all. And she's like, you have to change your perspective. They see Riley, they look up to him. That gives them hope.
Yeah.
They see him ring that bell. They're saying to themselves, you know what?
One day it's going to be me.
Fuck this chemo. I'm next. I'm going to be ringing that bell just like Riley is. And like I talked to you about the ear, nose, and throat specialist saying this is going to be harder on you than it is on him. Dr. Seema was right. Changed my perspective. Didn't have any fucking clue that kids would look at my son like, that's going to be me. I'm going to do that. And it changed my life. Him ringing that bell, I hugged him, I kissed him, and I looked at those other kids, and none of those kids looked jealous. None of those kids looked like, here I am taking key. I'm just starting this journey through hell. Didn't matter to him. They looked at him like my kid was Iron Man, like my kid was Captain America, like my kid was fucking Hulk, like he was a fucking superhero. And he is. That's all I can say, man. Perspective.
Yeah.
You may think you're right. You rarely are. That's why they do what they do.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like, I can't wait. And honestly, Shane. Everything you said is really beautiful. Like, honestly, it's exactly what it is. They look for hope, and look to hope. And Riley was that example, like that example of hope, that example of triumph. Because you got to keep that going, especially, with kids that sick. You know what I mean? And I can't wait. Like, I'll explain to Bo one day. Maybe like while he's maybe he's about to sleep or something like that, or whatever, about to wake up, and what had happened and stuff like that. Tell him I love him, and then just let him know.
I fucked your mom.
Sorry, Bo. Did I ever tell you about when I met your mother?
No, but I just had to do it. But no, I'll seriously just to tell him that tell him that you love him. Tell him how hard it was watching what happened and how inspired even you yourself, Shane, was like watching them build back to to where they are now, and it's a beautiful thing, man. It really is.
No, I totally agree. And like I said, I'm just gonna. I know maybe YouTube may not like it, but I'm going to my personal YouTube right now, and I think it's probably poignant that maybe I share the video.
Yeah.
As long as you guys are cool with it.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
Before I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye to you guys because I got to go to bed early. Well, I got to go to bed now. So, but love you guys. I'll see you guys later.
Yep.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Later. You brought up the mom thing. Ivan was the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
So yeah, rather than doing our shout outs, like I said, I will share. If you guys are cool with it, I'll share that. And I know I'll probably be dumping this off of our YouTube page tomorrow because YouTube is crazy like that. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to live on the fucking wild side. And like I said, I'm proud of my fucking son. And like I said, I think it matters. And that's my baby boy right there. And that was just to give some perspective. Riley woke up one morning and his neck was swollen. He looked like a college football player and he looked like he had muscles in his neck. And for 1 month, an entire month, we took him, our regular pediatrician, who is a Chicago Bears fan, believe it or not. When we moved to the town that we live in, Clayton, he's like, man, yeah, I'm a huge Bears fan. He's like, your voice sounds so familiar. And I can't understand. He's like, I swear I've heard it before. And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, do you watch the guys on TTNL? And I'm like, oh, yep. I know who you're talking about. I know who they are. He's like, yeah, I love those guys. He's like, man, he looks down at his sheet and he's like, wait a minute. Are you the smartest man? And I'm like, I've been called that once or twice in my life. Yep. And he's like, no way. He's like, I got to call my son. He calls his son on the phone. He's like, I'm talking to the smartest man from TTNL. This is my son's pediatrician. Well, when Riley got sick, our pediatrician was gone on vacation because he had some family functions, weddings, and stuff like that. So he was gone for 3 weeks. And so we took Riley to another pediatrician that was filling in, and every time we'd show up, they just measure his neck. And finally, the 4th week, I got home from work, and he was like, "Yeah, Took him, they just measured his neck again. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. And I live 4 miles from the clinic. So I drove up there and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, kid's got something wrong. His neck is fucking swollen. All you're doing is measuring his neck. And he's like, well, are you a doctor? And I said, nope, I'm a fucking concerned dad. And you're not doing a fucking thing for him. It's been 1 month and I'm starting to get pissed off. And we went back and forth, exchanged a couple pleasantries, and probably said a few things that I probably shouldn't have. But when it's your kid, you're gonna go there. And I ended up loading them up and leaving the clinic. And like I said, I live 4 miles from the clinic, and by the time I got home, I had 2 voicemails from that doctor telling me to take him to the ER immediately when I got home. And that picture right there is the ER the first night. We got there at 5:30 that early evening, and we got home at 4:30 in the morning. They did 30 separate tests to him that night. We got home about 5 a.m. and we were back into the doctor the next morning at 7:30. And that's when literally everything happened. They signed him up for neck surgery, and that's where we went. And that's, like I said, that's where it all started. But this is just, it's not a great video, but it's just something that I made on my iPhone. And
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Why not? Do. Or do not. There is no try.
Oh, I went in there. And I looked at it. Yeah. They really so excited. I am carrying a pom-pom for you. This is like. Well, then when I look at it, it's the phone. You ring it loud as you can. Do you want to shake the pom-pom? Come on, do it. Shake the pom-pom. You'll feel weird. Good job. Nice job. You did great. Oh, good job. Do you want a picture with Dad next to the dog? I think you should get over there.
Wow.
That's my baby boy.
Oh man, that was.
Yeah,
Shane got us over here tearing.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hey, well, you guys know how it is, man. We started off the show. A lot of people don't have the benefit of seeing us pre-show, and I think a lot of people, like I said, we, as a TTNL family, we have a lot of shit going on right now. I know we haven't put out some patron shows this past week, but we have a lot of stuff, family stuff going on. And like I shared with you guys pre-show, Phil's our dude. He's really our leader. And we can't preach family first if we don't live it. And like I said, we all have a limited time on this earth, just as us, not even counting our kids. There's a video I can post for patrons. It talks about kids, and you really have your kids for really about 4 years. When they're little, when they're all about daddy, when they're all about mommy, and they're all about family, and you're their everything. And then they start being their own person. Once they go to school, they're doing their own thing. And those four years go by really, really fast. And Claude, as a dad, those 4 years, man, it goes fast. And then they're out of school and real life shit happens. And the amount
you'll see, especially with daughters.
Oh yeah.
Once they hit about 11 years old, 10, 11, it's like an alien takes over their body, dude.
Wait a minute now.
No, you know what I mean.
It's
like that.
I
it used to be, oh my, I couldn't leave to go to work without them giving me a hug. Like, they had to give me a hug.
Exactly.
Now I gotta bribe them for eye contact when I'm fucking talking.
Listen, Emerson's in
I'm like, what the fuck? You just look at me.
Emerson's in a daycare, and I hesitate to even call it daycare because the staff is all teachers. So they have, I don't want to say it's regimented, but they have, specific times where they do everything every day. And, they're working on them. And Cherie's dancing over there because she had a dance instructor come in, but it's crazy. I'm like, she'll be 2. She turns 2 on June 3rd. And I'm like, it's crazy to me, that here she is, not even 2 years old yet. And they have this, structure that's costing me way too fucking much money every week, by the way. Holy fuck, is daycare expensive. But
God, I forget this. And I'm when I saw the video, I'm like, I'm not thinking that she's just 2. She's not even 2 yet.
I can't wait in 17 years. She's 19, and Bears have won like 4 Super Bowls.
Right.
I'm gonna play a drop when you talk about her going out. Can't wait.
Yeah. Oh my god. I can't wait till she goes to school. Bro. I don't know. New York is an expensive place to fucking live. Anyway, but $430 a week for daycare for a 1-year-old. That ain't no fucking joke, bro. $430. That's a lot of fucking money. No matter, what financial background you're from, the Dieter Eiselen fucking stock market.
You're right there next to Canada. Go to Canada. They pay for it.
Yeah,
They pay,
right.
No,
right.
for real. Canada, they pay.
No, I know.
They pay, to stay home. Yeah. Right over the border.
But she loves it. I've shared some videos with Cherie, and you can see how happy she is and stuff. But you don't get this time back. And I grew up with my sisters are, I don't want to say significantly older than me to make them sound old as hell, but I was the baby of the family, and I'm 6 years younger than my youngest sister. So my dad was a military guy and kind of did his own thing and didn't always make the best decisions for his family, in terms of, and he, I talked to him now about it, and he regrets all of it. And I think that made me a better dad because, I'll I will die for my family. That's just how I am. And my dad's misgivings made me a better dad because I didn't want to be like that. And my dad fucked up and admitted it later and became a better person. And I didn't want to be there. And like I said, we don't. Better than anybody. Your kids are older than mine. You don't. It goes by like that, man. You miss everything, and shit happens so fast, man. And this network, like I said, we've built it on the tape and the analysis, but we've built it on family first.
Oh, yeah.
And if we don't live it, then we're lying. We have to. And sometimes you have to pull back and just take a little bit of a break and focus on family first, because like I said, time goes fast. Cherie, you know it, people are in your life and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And you can't hit that rewind button. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. But that's why coming on Wednesday nights, and it's a nice therapeutic thing away from it. But you're right. In the end, it's it's all about family, and we got to be we got to do what we got to do sometimes. So but right now we're want to do some shout outs, or you want to just end it, or what do you want to do?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I feel bad for this motherfucker. $2,500 a month for daycare. How many kids you got, bro? Jesus, that's even worse. So I was paying. I'm paying $430 a week. I thought I had a fucking
$25. Damn.
He's a Perez, man. He's probably got 6-7 kids.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I'm sorry, Daniel. I love you.
Holy shit.
One kid, $2,500, bro. What? God damn. Where you live?
Wow. Yeah,
Hawaii.
that's like
He already said he lives in Hawaii.
Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's just more expensive in Hawaii.
God
for sure.
Damn. $2,500 a Jesus.
And he has two. He was saying that's for one kid. He has two.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
$5,000 a month in daycare.
That would be the best birth control ever. $2,500 a month. Jesus. I thought $430 a week was bad. Jesus. That's crazy. It's expensive though. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let me load this up, Claude.
Yeah, load it up.
There.
Time flies. It's already 11:30. My goodness.
I know.
We're like, oh, we'll do a quick one tonight.
Yeah, Claude's like, fuck it. Phil's gonna bounce. We'll get the fuck out of here.
And she ain't got on the roll.
You gotta do it.
There it is. Oh, Jesus, we don't want that one.
No.
Claudio Fernicola.
Yes. Listen, I'll make it short. A couple people in the chat: Skeet Dog, Justin Kirk was watching with his, I think he said like 70 or 80-year-old father, big Bear fan. Never watched the show together. They were watching it together. So he said that in the chat. So I want to shout him out. Ralph Tribby hit me up with the Mooney interview. I didn't even know that he was on that show. So shout out to you, Ralph, for hitting me up in a DM about that. And a shout out. So if you guys don't know, in our town, me and Phil's town, our high schools, Lyman Hall and Sheehan, are the originators of Powder Puff football, right? The girls football. So they have now decided that they're going to have girls football actually in the fall, flag football teams. And both of my daughters, I'm shouting them out, made a decision. I told them, I said, please play flag football. And so they're both going to play flag football in the fall. So.
Don't let Phil get near him.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
Should we break the news about the new Little League football coach?
He kind of broke it last week.
He did, yeah, he did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because we all were talking about trying to pick a tailgate game to go to when he.
Yeah, Phil's fucking it up. We can't go now when it's nice weather. Now we got to go when it's fucking cold.
We're not gonna do the Panther game.
We were gonna. Well, I wanted to do the Denver game.
When's that?
October 1st.
Oh, okay.
Still could be real nice stuff like that, but now Phil's like, can't do it, bro. So.
Well, the Panther game could be
but that was
November 9th.
Game, ain't it?
It is a Thursday game. Yeah. Well, got a whole long weekend in Chicago, I guess.
That'll work.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'll be there.
Yeah, that'll be.
Who's Notre Dame play that week? Do we know? Well, we're talking about killing two birds with one stone with Zorich doing the Bears. We could do Bears Thursday night.
They have
Notre Dame. Is Notre Dame home that week?
Do they have the? They have it out, right?
Yeah, it should.
Yeah, it's out. Wait, what week is that?
It's
What week is the Panthers?
November 9th. November 9th.
Yeah.
No, they're in Louisville that weekend.
They're playing Wake Forest the 18th. That's at home.
All right. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but I wanted to do nice weather, but Phil had to be selfish and coach his kids. So fucking dickhead.
Sheree, what do you got?
Well, first, since he did announce it last week, I guess I didn't get a chance to actually tell him. Congratulations, Phil, to the new coaching job, even though Shane over there hating on you.
Yeah.
But definitely shout out to Phil, his family. We love you. We support you. If you need anything, let me know. You can call on any of us. So that's basically my shout out. Just sending love to Phil because I know he's going through it.
Yeah. Family first. That's what matters. I'm going to give my shout out to my niece, Sydney Tanner. She's a senior in high school, elite softball pitcher, loves softball. She was undefeated, didn't give up very many runs as a pitcher, being recruited by colleges, stuff like that. Won the Division League MVP. She had one game left before the playoffs started. Number one team in New York State. Got up to bat, hit a homer, was rounding first base, stepped wrong. Unfortunately, broke her foot.
Oh my God.
High school career over. Integral part to her Hammond Red Devil team. They actually lost without her tonight in the playoffs. They had high hopes to win the states. She was a big part of what they did. She's the lockdown, shutdown pitcher for them. But she broke her foot and just tried to get back, couldn't do it. Feel bad, high school sports, big part of what we all did. She loves it, and was just mattered to her. So, my heart, was broken for her, knowing that your last moment in high school sports was rounding first base and just stepping wrong, foot sliding off the bag and breaking your foot in a crazy situation. She deserved to be able to, go to the playoffs, bring home a state title. But, I told her today, proud of her. She put in the work. Now she's on to bigger and better, heading off to college, has a scholarship. So she's going to do great things. Just, shitty the way that it ended. So I feel bad for her, but like I said, it happens, but proud of her either way. So Sydney Tanner, love you. She calls me Uncle Nene, like all my nieces do, because my grandmother called me Shaney, so she calls me Nene.
That's what I'm supposed to be calling you.
Yeah, so love her. Great girl, great kid, very, very smart. Don't know where she gets it. Gonna be majoring in forensic science.
Oh wow.
Gonna be the CSI girl. So nice. Sydney Tanner, love you. Uncle Nene loves you. Onward and upward. You're gonna do great things. So that's where we're at, and that's where we close it out.
Beautiful, great show. Another one.
Another
one in the books.
I know. And then this guy.
I know I'm short, right?
He is. He is. So I don't know, Claude. How do you think?
What do you want to end it? Well, I don't know. You go ahead, man.
Listen,
you're the captain of the ship right now.
I know. I fucking like it. I say we end it in the most TTNL way ever. What do you guys think? Sign off on it?
Go for it.
You want it? We'll do it this way, and then we'll close it.
Give
out.
me
some fucking names.
Oh my fucking God.